Warrior Lore. Chapter 29:35. All the experts of the 3,000 worlds and 33 heavens felt that the situation within the 18 levels of hell had really been completely arranged by Lu Xiaoyu. It seemed as if all changes were within his control, and even more experts would rush over at every critical moment and pose an enormous threat to the devil race. Kill. For a time, another terrifying howl resounded through this expanse of space. Terrifying sound waves swept out, causing the hellfire within the damaged seal to surge violently, and it was a terrifying scene. The millions of experts of the devil race didn't dare stay here at all, and they were suppressed to the point of being unable to raise their heads. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin gnashed their teeth with hatred, but they were helpless against all of this. The 33 heavens had joined forces with so many experts from the 3,000 worlds, and it was truly too terrifying. Just as Yang Guo had said, if it wasn't for the existence of the Lord Devil Ancestor, then how could the other experts of the devil race alone be able to fight against two formidable large worlds? Presently, their greatest advantage was the Devil Ancestor. Once the Devil Ancestor completely fused with the Soul Core and recovered to the shapeless realm, then he would be a lethal threat to the 33 heavens and 3,000 worlds. At that time, the Devil Generals, Devil Attendants, and numerous experts of the devil race would be able to show their value. I wonder how the Lord has recovered. Has he successfully fused with the 17th Soul Core? As they fled for their lives, Dongli Qihuang had such thoughts. He really wanted to know the Lord's current situation so that he could grasp roughly how much time was needed so that the Lord's recovery wouldn't be disturbed. It's probably about time. I'm afraid it won't be long before the Lord will be able to enter the 18th level of hell, find the last portion of the Soul Core, and recover to his peak. Chen Yan's eyes slowly brightened as he spoke softly. In fact, the Lord didn't even have to fuse with the last Soul Core to be able to roam freely through the 33 heavens, and he wouldn't even be afraid of an existence like Lu Xiaoyu. But for safety's sake, the 18th Soul Core had to be recovered. Only in this way would he have absolute confidence in crushing the 33 heavens and causing the countless living beings in the 33 heavens to be unable to resist at all. But now, he had to think of a way to delay the footsteps of the numerous pursuers behind him. A battle of chasing and fleeing began once again, and the sounds of battle shook the heavens and the earth. This time, it was a true battle to the death. Both sides had invested an equal number of experts, and their strengths were not far apart. It could be said that the strong were clashing. This was a battle between powerhouses from the 33 heavens, the 3,000 boundless worlds, and the 18 levels of hell. It was incomparably terrifying. Wild and savage energy recklessly surged outwards, howling through the skies. Expanse after expanse of space was blasted into chaos while rocks and soil were crushed into powder. Numerous figures fell from the sky and transformed into a mist of blood. Endless energy surged and roared, like thousands of mountains collapsing and thousands of waves roaring. The sky shattered, and the earth cracked as if doomsday had arrived in the 16th layer of hell. The eyes of all living beings turned red with killing intent. The devil race also roared wildly as they fought against the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds. Everyone was going crazy. It was during this period of time that a huge change occurred in the 17th layer of hell. Somewhere in this layer of space, a figure slowly opened his eyes. Scarlet light shot out from his eyes, piercing through the void. Wherever his gaze passed, everything was transformed into a state of chaos. This figure was covered in thick hair, as if it had been dyed with blood. It was a crimson red. A pair of sharp claws hung down, and with every movement of the claws, terrifying Tao runes appeared, causing the great Tao of the world to be completely rewritten. Coupled with that hideous and ugly face with exposed lips and teeth, this figure looked indescribably terrifying, as if it was a great evil of the present age. The 17th origin spirit has been completely fused. Only one remains. A rough voice came from this figure's mouth. It was like rubbing sand against stone, causing one's hair to stand on end. Besides Jiangxin, who was the demon ancestor? Who else could this figure be? At this time, Jiangxin's appearance had changed a great deal compared to before. His entire body was filled with a fiendish and evil aura, and a bloodthirsty aura naturally exuded from him. It was incomparably powerful. He'd fused a total of 17 origin spirits and recovered more than half of his strength. He only needed to find an 18th origin spirit and successfully fuse with it. When that happened, he'd once again display his ancient ferocious might and strike fear into the hearts of all living beings in the 33 heavens. Panga, I know you're not dead, but you must be in a very bad situation right now. Once I've fully recovered and dealt with all those clowns in the 33 heavens, I'll come find you. The enmity between us will eventually come to an end. This time, in your current state, you don't have Empyrean Exalted's help. How could you possibly be a match for me? Jiangchen muttered to himself, then turned his gaze to the boundless void. It was as if he could see through the barriers of the world and land on Panga's body. As he spoke, Jiangchen slowly walked forward. With each step he took, his appearance underwent another earth-shattering transformation. The boundlessly terrifying figure gradually faded away, replaced by an extraordinarily handsome young man. He looked exactly the same as before. With this appearance, there was no trace of the demon ancestor's ferocious might. Du Xiaofu, you've almost killed your way here, haven't you? Jiangchen shifted his gaze again and said. With a single thought, he instantly saw through the situation in the 18 layers of hell and grasped the movements of the experts in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 realms. Jiangchen didn't seem to care in the slightest that the demons were being suppressed. He simply said, Lu Xiaoyu, you must be about to show yourself. I refuse to believe that you'll be so patient as to wait until I've fully recovered before attacking. As he spoke, his gaze darted through the void, as if he were observing some mysterious trajectory patterns. This great formation isn't bad, but it's still far inferior to Panga's. Through his eyes, Jiangchen could see the situation in the 18 layers of hell. Just as he'd sensed, Lu Xiaoyu had set up a terrifying great formation outside the 18 layers of hell. Furthermore, the chaos essence Pango had left behind served as the foundation of the formation, providing a steady stream of vigorous energy that enveloped the entire 18 layers of hell. Jiangchen could also sense that this great formation was extraordinary. It was strong enough to trap countless demons in the 18 layers of hell, making it difficult for them to attack the 33 heavens. How could he not understand Lu Xiaoyu's intentions? He'd set up this formation to keep the battlefield in the 18 layers of hell, so that the 33 heavens could be preserved as much as possible in the coming war. However, even if such a great formation could trap Jiangchen, how could it possibly stop the demon ancestor, who'd fully recovered? Once he merged with his nascent divinities, he'd be able to easily break through this formation. In the end, the 33 heavens couldn't escape this calamity. Only one nascent divinity remains. Du Xiaofu, if you arrive too quickly, I'll have no choice but to suppress you ahead of time. In the end, Jiangchen withdrew his gaze and began to wander around the 17th layer of hell. He wasn't in a hurry. He seemed incomparably calm. He was searching for the weakest point in the seal, leading to the 18th layer of hell. Once he opened it, he'd be able to find the last nascent divinity. The day he successfully merged with his nascent divinity would be the day the demon ancestor returned. Currently, the 17th layer of hell was extremely peaceful. The demon ancestor's appearance didn't affect the demons trapped here much. However, the 16th layer of hell was incomparably lively. Numerous experts from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 sectors had joined forces and pursued the demons with all their might. Finally, they'd broken through the ancient seal and truly entered the 16th layer of hell. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin had long since sent people to the 16th layer to gather even more demon experts. In addition, the gate leading to the 17th layer of hell had opened wide, summoning numerous demons trapped in the primordial era to this layer. Before long, large numbers of demon experts poured in. Finally, they were able to fight the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 sectors head-on. A terrifying battle unfolded. Heaven and earth darkened as mountains and rivers surged. Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Lu Jingyun, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others were finally stopped in their tracks and violently collided with the demons. A large number of immortal experts from Lu Jingyun's independent space were released to participate in the battle. However, all of this didn't have much to do with Du Xiaofu right now. At this moment, he was recuperating in Lu Jingyun's space with all his might. Under the circumstances where he'd consumed a large number of treasures and had the support of time acceleration, Du Xiaofu had obtained a large amount of time to heal. Compared to the flow of time in the outside world, his recovery was extremely fast. Condense and trace the Tao, transform into the Tao, and use the body to carry the Tao. The Tao is vast and boundless. How can I pursue it to the extreme, stand at the highest point of the world, and comprehend my own Tao and step foot into the Tao carrier realm? After his body and soul had mostly recovered, Du Xiaofu began to ponder this question. He'd been at the second level of the void path for a very long time. During this process, his strength had grown extremely fast. However, Du Xiaofu was very clear that he hadn't broken through any major bottlenecks at all. The reason why he'd been able to cultivate so smoothly and his current strength was comparable to a third-level meditative realm expert was entirely due to the uniqueness of the void path, or rather, the 4 primordial laws that he'd comprehended. During this process, he'd improved naturally. The general framework had already been established when he'd stepped into the second level of the void path. But now, if Du Xiaofu wanted to improve further, he'd have to comprehend something new. Only then could he truly break through the void path and use the body to carry the Tao. He'd truly transcend heaven and earth and break free from the shackles of heaven and earth. This was the realm that senior brother Lu Xiaofu was in. Perhaps only such a power was qualified to be ranked at the peak of the postnatal realm and truly challenge the devil ancestor. Of course, there were also huge differences in the void path realm. For example, senior brother Lu Xiaofu was already at the peak of the void path realm and was only a step away from the void path. On the other hand, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others were only half-step void path realm. The great Tao is supreme, and it's derived from the myriad of laws in the world. If one wants to reach the peak of the great Tao, it's like the cultivation of the truth-severing realm. One has to constantly grasp the fragmented great Tao principles and fuse them into one, turning them into a whole. Du Xiaofu carefully comprehended some things. He didn't know how to truly break through the void path realm, but he still understood the general principles. But compared to the endless laws, the great Tao was even more ethereal and unfathomable. How could it be easy to fully comprehend it? Otherwise, with the aptitude of Lu Jingyun and the others, they'd have already taken this step many years ago. However, Du Xiaofu's advantage was also very obvious. He'd grasped the complete 4 primordial laws, so his comprehension was much more thorough. It's really too difficult to carry the great Tao with one's body. It's better to take one step at a time first. No matter what, the stronger the great Tao origin that I can condense, the closer I'll be to that level. Du Xiaofu let out a long breath and shook his head. He felt that he couldn't grasp what the complete great Tao was like, so he could only put aside his thoughts for the time being. What he could do now was to continuously comprehend and condense the great Tao origin energy. When enough great Tao origin energy was condensed, perhaps a quantitative change would cause a qualitative change. At that time, he'd be able to understand something on a deeper level. It'll be easy to condense the great Tao origin energy. The great Tao is derived from the laws, and I've grasped the 4 primordial laws at the same time. It's equivalent to being able to mobilize all the laws in the world. As long as I continue to refine and fuse these laws, I'll be able to continuously produce the great Tao origin energy. The only thing I need to consider is the process of constantly combining and changing. Du Xiaofu thought to himself. He gently closed his eyes again, and the qi in his body began to circulate at the same time. As he mobilized, the 4 primordial laws mixed and changed with each other, transforming into a tyrannical force that flowed through his body. This was the Tao rhyme. It possessed the great Tao origin energy, but there was a huge gap between the two. However, under Du Xiaofu's refinement, the great Tao origin energy was gradually produced, and then it became more and more vigorous. Buzz, 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 accompanied by terrifying vibrations. After the great Tao origin energy was produced, It slowly lay dormant in Du Xiaofu's body, nourishing his body and soul, and at the same time transforming into his own strength. Currently, he still didn't have the ability to draw the great Tao origin at will. That was an ability that only those in the realm of carrying the path could possess. As time passed, an incomparably deep and vigorous aura was produced inside and outside his body at the same time, releasing a ferocious pressure that permeated the surrounding space. Fortunately, the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds had already left. Otherwise, many people would have been shocked by the commotion caused by Du Xiaofu. Resplendent light enveloped the purple-robed young man's body, giving him a mysterious aura. With the help of a large number of precious medicines and constant cultivation, Du Xiaofu's injuries had long been under control, and he was about to recover. Under such circumstances, his cultivation was also slowly improving. In the process of fighting with the two demon generals, he was not completely in a passive state. At the same time, he had also observed the two's attacks, and had gained a lot of new understanding of the realm of carrying the path, or the great Tao origin energy. This was a valuable experience that was even more direct than teaching by example. This was especially true when Blood God Devil General and Desolate Fiend Devil General's final attack had pushed Du Xiaofu to the brink of death. This was the most precious experience one could gain from being on the brink of death. Huff, huff, huff. Du Xiaofu constantly breathed in and out, and the qi in his body trembled, emitting a terrifying might. Time slowly passed, and he himself did not know how many years he had stayed in this independent space. He only knew that his injuries were gradually recovering. At the same time, his cultivation was also steadily increasing. Strictly speaking, this kind of growth could only be described as improvement. It could not be considered a huge breakthrough. However, if it was placed on other experts in the outside world, it would be a terrifying transformation. This was the uniqueness of the virtual path realm. There were no bottlenecks in the current level. It was also because of this that when Du Xiaofu opened his eyes again, his aura had undergone a different change. It was even more profound and unfathomable. It's about time. Let's stop here. If I continue to cultivate, there won't be much of an effect. Du Xiaofu let out a light breath and muttered in his heart. He carefully sensed his current strength. Perhaps he could not be compared to Lu Jingyun, Lu Yuxiao, Long Ke, and the others, but he was definitely not too far away. In other words, Du Xiaofu already possessed strength close to the third stage of meditative realm. Whether it was in the 33 heavens, the 3,000 boundless worlds, or the 18 levels of hell, he was second to none. There were not many who could match him. Du Xiaofu was also very satisfied with this result. Right now, the battle in the 18 levels of hell was in full swing. Du Xiaofu's own strength had increased greatly, and it was of some help to the overall situation. The only thing he was dissatisfied with was that he was still unable to fight with existences like the demon generals. The realm of carrying the Tao? Huh? Sooner or later, I will still have to step onto that level and experience the demeanor of a supreme expert. Du Xiaofu's eyes burned as he thought in his heart. He somewhat yearned for that kind of height, but rice had to be eaten mouthful by mouthful, the road had to be walked step by step, and his cultivation also needed to be raised bit by bit. Rushing for success would only lead him to the wrong path, so he still had to maintain enough patience. It's time to go out. Du Xiaofu retracted his thoughts and muttered to himself. Through a special method, he established contact with Lu Jingyun, who was in the outside world. Then, he saw a crack appear in this independent space, and the door opened wide. Without thinking, Du Xiaofu directly flashed out and entered the 16th level of hell. Chapter 29:36. Martial Uncle Du, you've recovered. As soon as Du Xiaofu appeared, Lu Jingyun, who was fighting Dongli Qihuang, asked. At this moment, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin were in imminent danger under the suppression of Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao. Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao were too strong. In a one-on-one situation, they far surpassed the two devil attendants. I've recovered. Du Xiaofu nodded, and then his figure flashed over to Dongli Qihuang's side and said, Leave the two devil attendants to me. You go assist the others. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying light swept over and instantly swept towards Dongli Qihuang. At the same time, Du Xiaofu struck out with 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons and attacked Chen Yin. In an instant, his attack enveloped the 2 devil attendants. A terrifying aura shook and covered the heavens and the earth. It was capable of destroying mountains and rivers and overturning the universe. All right, Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao agreed, and then they answered very straightforwardly. When they saw Du Xiaofu make a move, a trace of surprise appeared in their eyes. The two of them could clearly sense that Du Xiaofu's strength had increased again, and he was very close to the two of them. This caused the brother and sister to feel extremely surprised. It was actually so easy for the purple-robed young man before them to increase his strength. However, Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao didn't think too much about it. They were already mentally prepared, so they weren't affected by it. The two of them didn't hesitate and left this area. They flew up and quickly killed their way to another battlefield. They fought with the other demons and left Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu. When they saw Du Xiaofu appear again, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin gritted their teeth tightly, and their faces were extremely dark. They hated Du Xiaofu to the core and wanted to kill him quickly. However, the strength that the purple-robed young man revealed at this moment was much stronger than before. The two devil attendants only felt deep helplessness in their hearts. As experts that had reincarnated since the ancient times, they actually couldn't even compare to Du Xiaofu, who was a post-celestial. The only reply to Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin was a Du Xiaofu's cold snort. He stomped his feet, and waves of ferocious power swept out. Accompanied by the overbearing origin energy, he continued to attack the two demon servants. The reason why Du Xiaofu let Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao retreat and fought the two devil attendants alone was because the grievances between them were too deep. Putting aside the previous years in the divine martial world, just in the years since Du Xiaofu entered the 33 heavens, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin had attacked him many times, wanting to kill him. Du Xiaofu, do you really think you're strong enough to kill the two of us together? Facing Du Xiaofu's attack, Chen Yan's eyes were extremely cold, and he asked hatefully. Previously, the two devil attendants had been completely suppressed by the Lu siblings and had suffered heavy injuries. The two third-level meditative realm powerhouses were simply too terrifying. They were simply suppressing them in a fight. The two of them had already thought of retreating and wanted to seek help from other demon experts. Obviously, if they continued to fight, they might really die. But now, as soon as Du Xiaofu appeared, he wanted to fight the two of them by himself. He was extremely arrogant. It had to be said that while they hated this purple-robed young man, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin looked at him and actually felt that Du Xiaofu was a little cute. Since the early years of the divine martial world, the two of you have always been suppressed by me. When did you have the slightest strength to resist? I have a premonition that the two of you will die in my hands sooner or later. When these words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Just as he said, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin were able to defeat him in the beginning. Later, for thousands of years, Du Xiaofu had been tightly suppressing them. No matter how fast the two devil attendants' cultivation improved and how many geniuses were left behind, there was always a majestic figure in front of them that was difficult to surpass. And this person was Du Xiaofu. Let's talk about it after you defeat us. Dongli Qihuang's entire body was filled with rage, and he gritted his teeth as he spoke. Chen Yin was the same. Du Xiaofu's words caused the hatred in their hearts to grow even deeper. No matter how revered their status was and how fast their strength improved after they awakened their memories, it was still difficult for them to reach Du Xiaofu. This was a heavy blow to them. However, at this moment, it seemed that it was completely impossible for them to kill Du Xiaofu by relying on their strength. Haha. Du Xiaofu chuckled and fought with all his might. It could be said that with his current cultivation, it was sufficient to suppress the joint forces of Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin. It was precisely under such circumstances that Du Xiaofu firmly held the upper hand. Moreover, at the same time, he sensed the situation of the entire 16th level of hell in his heart. Under Du Xiaofu's observation, he noticed that the 4 half-step enlightenment experts, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, Di Batian, and Donghuang Taixin, were fiercely fighting the 6 devil generals of the devil race. These 10 terrifying existences had exceedingly high cultivations, and their methods were peerless and unparalleled. Fortunately, the 6 devil generals had experienced countless years of suppression, and their strength had been greatly reduced. Otherwise, Debatian and the other 3 would be utterly incapable of going against them. The situation in the other battlefields was similar. The overall number of experts in the 33 heavens and 3,000 universes was only on par with the devil race, and the difference wasn't great. It was precisely because of this that the fighting everywhere was extremely tragic, and experts were falling every moment. This is the 18th level of hell after all. If we fight in the outside world and gather all the experts in the 33 heavens and 3,000 universes, it shouldn't be difficult to suppress the devil race. Du Xiaofu thought to himself as he fought the 2 devil attendants. In the 18th level of hell, the greatest advantage of the devil race was that they could mobilize all of their experts at any time. Unlike the 33 heavens and 3,000 universes, who could only dispatch a portion of their experts. If the battlefield shifted to the 33 heavens, the situation would likely be completely different. However, Du Xiaofu knew full well that in terms of supreme experts, the 33 heavens and 3,000 universes combined didn't have much of an advantage. If more devil generals appeared in the devil race, it would definitely not be a good thing. The main reason for all this was that during the ancient war, many of Penga's enlightenment experts seemed to have fallen in that monstrous battle. Now that the devil race had risen once more for so many years, they still hadn't seen a single expert at the Tao-bearer realm in the 33 heavens. Du Xiaofu even suspected that all those existences had perished a long time ago, and not a single one had survived. This is already the 16th level of hell. Presumably, Jiangxin is at least in the 17th. He might even have broken through the seal of the 18th. Du Xiaofu thought to himself as he fought Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin. He really wanted to know Jiangxin's current state. He and the other experts had been in the 18th level of hell for so long. They'd fought fiercely in the beginning, then encountered a series of tyrannical obstructions. But even now, they hadn't seen Jiangxin's figure. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but sigh. It seemed that killing Jiangxin before he fully recovered would be difficult. He didn't know what senior brother Lu Xiaoyu had planned, and whether he'd try to fight Jiangxin as soon as possible. Most importantly, Du Xiaofu felt that his current strength was far from enough. If he faced Jiangxin head-on, how could he play a critical role? Suppressing these thoughts, Du Xiaofu came to his senses and faced the 2 demon attendants with all his might. The violet gold heavenly tower in his hand glowed with an inextinguishable light. His aura soared to the heavens, and sword light shot out one after another. It was incomparably terrifying. At the same time, the 9 violet lightning profound cauldrons danced wildly in the air, wreaking havoc. The terrifying origin of laws and the origin of the great Tao resonated with each other. They shook violently, intertwined wildly, and pierced through everything in their path. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin were also very strong. As expected of Third Realm meditative forgetfulness experts, they lived up to their names. Around them, waves of demonic energy surged like raging waves, accompanied by thunderous roars that shook heaven and earth. However, compared to Du Xiaofu, there was still a gap in cultivation. Most importantly, their repeated clashes with Lu Jingyun and Lu Yuxiao had left them severely injured. Now that they faced Du Xiaofu, they were completely suppressed. Under these circumstances, it wasn't impossible for Du Xiaofu to kill them in the end. However, Du Xiaofu knew that Qin Yin and the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix weren't idiots, and it was impossible for them to wait here for him to kill them. Once the critical moment arrived, they would definitely seek help from the other experts of the devil race. The 17th layer of hell has been broken. It's about time for the demon race's powerhouses sealed there to appear. Amidst the fierce battle, Dongli Qihuang turned his head and looked in the direction of the 17th layer of hell. Before they left with many demon experts to search for Du Xiaofu, Lord Jiangxin had already begun to break the seal to the 17th layer. He'd already succeeded. Now that they were being pursued by the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes and had arrived at the 16th layer of hell, the demons in the 17th layer should appear now. Rumble. Sure enough, just as the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix had such a thought, there was a loud rumble, and the entire level of hell trembled violently. It was as if a huge mountain had crashed into the sea, stirring up thousands of waves. Soon after, endless demonic aura surged, suppressing everything in the world as it charged over. They're really here. In an instant, uncontrollable joy appeared on Dongli Chihuang's face. These were the experts of the devil race, the ones who were originally sealed in the 18th layer of hell. In ancient times, a large number of demon experts had been sealed in each of the 18 layers of hell. Moreover, the deeper the layer, the greater the number of experts, and the stronger their cultivation. Now that the 17th layer of hell had been broken, the experts there had gathered in one place. Their appearance now would play a huge role in the battle. The demon race still has so many experts. Such a commotion caused the millions of powerhouses in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds to be stunned. Everyone instantly understood what had happened. However, none of them showed any signs of fear. Many people had been prepared to die before entering the 18th layer of hell. They were not afraid of this. The only thing they were afraid of was that they would die without any meaning. This time, there are close to 1 million demons. Du Xiaofu released the power of his primordial spirit to observe for a while and quickly grasped the number of demons. Just as he had sensed, nearly 1 million demons were roaring from afar, bringing with them a terrifying, murderous aura. The arrival of these people might not be able to change the trajectory of the battle in an instant, but it would definitely play a big role. Another demon general has appeared. Soon, Du Xiaofu discovered even more bad news. Among the experts surging over, there was actually another demon general leading them. In that case, there were already 7 devil generals in the demon race. Such strength was truly terrifying. Fortunately, they had been seriously injured and had quickly entered the battlefield after reappearing, so there was no time for them to recover. Otherwise, if a Dao Vessel Realm expert were to take action, the result would be unimaginable. Not to mention instantly crushing the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds. The Dao Vessel Realm expert would definitely lead the devil race to crush them like dry weeds. Kill, seeing a large number of demon experts appear again. The experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes became even more frenzied. They exerted all their strength and began to madly fight the demons. At this time, everyone faintly realized that the final battle was about to begin. The 3,000 universes might not be able to mobilize more people to help them. Those who trespass into the demon world will be killed without mercy. After the demon general appeared in the distance, he immediately roared and said, "Kill. Those who invade the demon race will die." As soon as the demon general's voice fell, the other demon experts also shouted. Everyone's expression was impassioned, and demon chi surged and spread out from their bodies. It was incomparably terrifying. The speed of these people was very fast. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the battlefield. If the demon race is not destroyed, the world will not be at peace. Kill. The forces of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes weren't weak at all. Their hair fluttered wildly, and their faces were ferocious as they slaughtered madly. But suddenly, another enormous bang resounded. It was like a myriad of enormous mountains had collapsed in unison, and it was like a boundless ocean was roaring violently. This enormous bang was extremely sudden. As soon as it appeared, it instantly caused boundlessly terrifying shockwaves to sweep out, and then it swept out like a flood that had broken through a dam. Buzz! In an instant, everyone felt their eardrums suddenly go numb, and then a wave of dizziness instantly invaded their minds. Even their soul divinities trembled violently along with it. Many people with insufficient cultivation felt their legs go weak, and they were practically unable to stand. The terrifying battle in the battlefield was instantly stopped. Countless figures hurriedly descended to the ground and leaned on the ground with their weapons to support their bodies. Huff, huff. As the terrifying Grand Tao marking swept over, it was accompanied by monstrous waves of energy. It was like the strongest gale in the world, and it caused everything in the world to shake. Fortunately, all of this happened quickly, and it ended just as quickly. After 10 breaths of time, the entire 16th level of hell gradually returned to normal, and everyone slowly regained their consciousness. What happened? An expert shook his head and asked in bewilderment. Before anyone could answer, a shout of joy came from Dongli Chihuang's mouth. He shouted loudly, "The 18th level of hell. This is the 18th level of hell. The seal there has been broken." This sentence was like a giant rock being thrown into a lake, causing tens of thousands of ripples to appear. Whether it was the 33 heavens, the 3,000 universes, or the many demon powerhouses, they were all stunned. The seal of the 18th level of hell has been broken. Is Jiangxin about to merge with his last primordial spirit? Du Xiaofu naturally guessed what had happened. He couldn't help but sigh a little in an instant. Now that the seal of the 18th level of hell had been broken, it meant that Jiangxin was about to find his last primordial spirit. Once he succeeded, he'd be able to recover the primordial demon ancestor's peerless might. In the end, things had still come to this. Du Xiaofu found it difficult to conceal the bitterness in his heart. All of this had been preordained long ago, but even now, his cultivation was far from catching up to Jiangxin's pace. The demon ancestor will need time to recover. In the meantime, we still have a chance. At this moment, Lu Jingyan suddenly arrived by Du Xiaofu's side and said softly. He gave an encouraging look to the purple-robed young man beside him. He stared at Du Xiaofu with an encouraging look. Du Xiaofu nodded firmly, bit his lip, and grunted. He didn't say anything else. He'd have to deal with everything himself. Just as Lu Jingyun said, even if Jiangxin succeeded in breaking the seal of the 18th level of hell, he'd still need time to recover. Time was also an opportunity for him to improve his strength. So long as he hadn't reached the final juncture, there was still time. Let's fight. Until the demons recover, we'll have one less demon to kill. Off in the distance, Yanghua hovered in midair, his heavy sword edgeless. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged into battle with the demon generals. Kill. Du Xiaofu and the others didn't dwell on the matter any longer. They continued to brandish their swords and sabers and engage in fierce combat with the demons. As the battle raged on in the 16th level of hell, outside the seal of the 18th level of hell, in the boundless starry sky, everything was calm. Suddenly, space rippled, and a young man in golden robes stepped out of thin air. His aura was completely restrained, making it impossible to tell how deep his cultivation was. However, for some reason, he seemed insurmountable. This figure was none other than the dragon god. Chapter 29:37. I'm finally back. After Xiaolong's figure appeared from the void, he gently turned his eyes and muttered. As the best brother of Lu Xiaoyu, the lord of the 3,000 sectors, the two had gone to a strange place many years ago to search for some secrets beyond the known worlds. However, when he appeared again, he was alone. Lu Xiaoyu was nowhere to be seen. The situation in the 18 levels of hell must have reached a critical state. If I don't act now, I'm afraid it will exceed the original plan. Xiaolong muttered to himself as he rubbed his nose. Before leaving this place, he and Lu Xiaoyu had a plan to send a large number of experts from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 sectors into the 18 levels of hell. According to the original plan, the two brothers should go together and enter to begin the next step of progress. If everything went smoothly and Du Xiaofu's progress steadily caught up, it would be time to end it all and completely kill the demon lord. Otherwise, if things continued to drag on, it would be disadvantageous for the experts who entered the 18 levels of hell. However, the situation had taken a huge turn that exceeded Xiaolong and Lu Xiaoyu's expectations. I really didn't expect that there would be such a place outside of this world. It's simply unbelievable. Xiaolong looked back as if he had seen through where he had come from. In the time that he and Lu Xiaoyu had disappeared, they had seen many things that they had never seen before. At that time, Xiaolong knew that there were other places outside of the 33 heavens, the 3,000 sectors, and the 18 levels of hell. That place seemed to be the starting point of everything. It was the origin of all things. It was also like the other side of the world, the end of the heavenly way. Back then, they had gone to that place to find the creator of the 3,000 sectors. At the same time, they had obtained more information. I hope Boss can succeed as soon as possible and reach the peak. Once he succeeds, it will be much easier to deal with the demon lord. However, I'm afraid time will be a little tight. However, not long after Lu Xiaoyu had arrived there, he began to comprehend something and went into seclusion. To an expert at the peak of the Tao attainment realm, this period of closed-door cultivation was extremely important because it was related to whether he would be able to break through in the end and step into that supreme realm. Xiaolong didn't dare to disturb him, but he was still worried about the matters of the outside world. He could only leave by himself and return to the 33 heavens and 18 layers of hell. It was time for him to intervene in such an intense situation. All of the seals in the 18 layers of hell have been broken. The demon lord must have entered the 18th layer of hell. It seems that the situation is imminent. We cannot afford to be careless. Xiaolong suddenly frowned and muttered to himself. Through the power of the seal outside the 18 layers of hell, it was not difficult for him to perceive the general situation in hell. Under such circumstances, it was easy to guess the current state of the 33 heavens, the 3,000 great worlds, the demon race, and the other powerhouses. Boss hasn't returned yet. We have to change our plans slightly. Xiaolong continued to frown as he muttered to himself. As soon as he finished his sentence, his body suddenly rose horizontally and flew out, directly entering the first layer of hell. As a half-step Tao attainment realm expert whose cultivation was not inferior to Di Batian and Donghuang Taishan, Xiaolong's speed was extremely terrifying. Normally speaking, if he wanted to travel through a large world, he only needed a single thought to appear at any place. However, the seals in the 18 layers of hell were personally placed by the great god Pangu in ancient times. It was the most powerful formation in the world, and even Lu Xiaoyu couldn't ignore it. Xiaolong naturally couldn't directly cross the boundless obstacles and could only go down layer by layer. However, with his speed, it wouldn't take too much time for him to reach the battlefield. The terrifying battle in the 16th layer of hell was still ongoing. More than 10 million people had joined the battle. The 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds immortal realm experts were almost on par with the demon race. The meditative oblivion realm experts were also fighting with each other, and it was difficult to determine the victor. The demon race currently had a total of 7 demon generals, and all of them had reached the Tao attainment realm. However, due to the loss of their strength, they hadn't recovered to their peak. Therefore, their strength was only equivalent to a half-step Tao attainment realm expert. To Di Batian and Donghuang Taishan, if they were in their peak condition, they would barely be able to deal with the 4 demon generals. However, the 2 of them had already suffered significant injuries, especially Donghuang Taishan, whose strength had been greatly reduced. As for the heavy sword Yanghua and poison spirit which Lu Xintong, they had just broken through to the half-step Tao attainment realm not long ago. Each of them could only withstand the fierce attacks of 1 demon general. Under such circumstances, the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds were not in a very good situation. However, the demon race was unable to crush them in a short period of time. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, and countless experts died. Kill. On the other side, the battle between Du Xiaofu and the 2 demon attendants was also intense. Terrifying attacks were launched one after another, shaking the heavens and earth and causing the sun and moon to sink. With Du Xiaofu's current strength, he could definitely suppress Dongli Qihuang and Shan Yan. In addition, the 2 of them were already injured, and they were being ruthlessly trampled by Du Xiaofu. Barf. A mouthful of blood gushed out of Shan Yan's mouth, and his face was extremely pale. The Eastern mythical Crimson Phoenix's body was covered with terrifying wounds. There was even a huge hole in its chest, revealing its beating internal organs. The 2 of them were severely injured, and they could only block Du Xiaofu's attacks without any strength to fight back. 2 demon attendants, my ass. In my hands, they can only be suppressed forever. Du Xiaofu's purple gold heavenly tower shone brightly, and monstrous sword lights shot out, piercing through everything. In addition, the 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons whistled through the air, piercing through the sky ferociously and destroying heaven and earth. Wave after wave of attacks were unleashed by him like a torrential downpour. Every single one of his attacks was terrifying beyond compare. You can't kill us. Dongli Qihuang had blood in his mouth, and it dyed his mouth red, and he revealed an extremely ferocious state as he spoke. At this point in the battle, he knew that even if he joined forces with Shan Yin, they weren't a match for Du Xiaofu alone. However, he wasn't afraid. Now that countless demon race experts had moved, and they really couldn't resist head-on, they could withdraw and avoid Du Xiaofu's attacks. With Dongli Qihuang's words in his ears, Du Xiaofu didn't answer anymore and just snorted coldly. He was constantly paying attention to the situation of the battle around him, and his heart was heavy. Millions of experts from the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless domains had entered the 18 layers of hell, reached this point, and launched such a terrifying collision with the demon race. None of this seemed normal, because before entering this place, senior brother Lu Xiaoyu had told him that there was no need to fight the demon race head-on. The premise was that they had to preserve their strength and be better prepared for the final battle with the demon race. Du Xiaofu could sense that it wasn't yet time for a decisive battle. At the very least, he wasn't strong enough to truly kill Jiangxin. Now that he was at the second stage of the Void Dao, once Jiangxin recovered to his peak and reached the illusionary realm, even if Jiangxin stood there and let him kill him, he probably wouldn't be able to cause any substantial damage. But what Du Xiaofu found strange was that the current situation seemed to have deviated from their initial plan. The 33 heavens, 3,000 boundless domains, and the demon race had launched such a terrifying battle. This one against senior brother Lu Xiaoyu's instructions. However, with his own strength, there was nothing he could do to change anything. He couldn't possibly lead the experts of the two boundless domains away from the demon race and abandon the battle. If he did, he feared the demon race would pursue him endlessly. Even if the demon race didn't take the initiative to pursue them, they hadn't gained much from their trip to the 18 layers of hell. Were they really going to return empty-handed? Surely, this wasn't senior brother Lu Xiaoyu's original intention. Du Xiaofu faintly sensed that they'd entered the 18 layers of hell for an even more important mission. But now, after more than 1,000 years, the people of the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless domains had already killed their way to the 16th layer of hell. But senior brother Lu Xiaoyu still hadn't appeared, nor had he sent anyone to bring him any more news. This puzzled Du Xiaofu. With this thought in mind, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but voice his doubts to Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, Lu Jingyun, and the others. Senior Uncle Du, do you think so too? It was obvious that Lu Jingyun had the same doubts as Du Xiaofu, so he asked in such a manner. That kid Xiaoyu is very mysterious. He didn't tell us any specific arrangements. Di Batian shook his head and said, but one thing is certain, Xiaoyu must have made some arrangements. He won't launch the final battle now. Donghuang Taixian said solemnly. Everyone nodded when they heard this. They all realized that the time was not ripe yet. Let's see how it goes. If Xiaoyu still doesn't appear after a while, we should retreat first. Let's hope nothing has happened. Yang Guo's heavy sword had no edge. He swung his heavy sword horizontally to block the attack of a demon general and said in a solemn voice. In fact, before they entered the 18th layer of hell, they had already made some arrangements, but they were afraid that something unexpected would happen and Lu Xiaoyu wouldn't be able to arrive in time. Under such circumstances, they could only act according to the circumstances. That's the only way, Du Xiaofu murmured. He observed the situation. In terms of top experts, the 4 half-step nascent soul stage experts were at a disadvantage against the 7 demon generals. If they didn't think of a way to escape, the longer they delayed, the harder it would be to escape. Once the strongest experts were injured, there wouldn't be anyone left to cover their retreat, and they would be hunted down by the demon race. Kill. After a simple discussion, Du Xiaofu and the others didn't think too much and made a corresponding plan. So long as the situation on the battlefield took a vicious turn, they had to make a prompt decision to retreat. Du Xiaofu's gaze was like a bolt of lightning, and he stared at Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin once more. Quintessence Skysplitter. He suddenly shouted in a low voice, and the boundless energy in his body surged. The energy of the 4 primeval laws surged, and they combined and condensed into the quintessence of the grand Tao that covered the sky. In the end, it transformed into a sword that slashed down. Such a sword light was peerlessly murderous, and it shot directly towards Chen Yin and slashed down as if it intended to slash him into two. Just by standing before the sword light, Chen Yin instantly felt his entire body being restrained by a formidable force, and he was unable to escape even if he wanted to. Dodge! The Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix instantly cried out and charged towards Chen Yin. At the same time, he struck out with an expanse of blood-red light and fiercely pushed Chen Yin away. This attack of Du Xiaofu's was truly too terrifying, and it caused Dongli Qihuang to feel boundless astonishment. Under the circumstances that Chen Yin was heavily injured, he didn't even have the time to dodge. If he watched helplessly as Du Xiaofu struck him, then his life would probably be in danger. As he gazed at Dongli Qihuang's actions, the corners of Du Xiaofu's mouth couldn't help but curl into a wisp of a cold smile. He controlled the quintessence sky splitter to slash down, but suddenly, the tip of his sword suddenly spun and actually changed directions. It disregarded Chen Yin and shot directly towards Dongli Qihuang instead. Du Xiaofu seemed to have expected that Dongli Qihuang would lend Chen Yin a hand, so his sword pierced through space and instantly arrived at Dongli Qihuang. Damn it! Dongli Qihuang couldn't help but curse loudly. He'd blasted Chen Yin back, yet he'd fallen into Du Xiaofu's blockade. He didn't even give it a thought before he directly converged all the energy in his body to form a tight layer of defense, and he erected a terrifying barrier before himself. Swish! At the moment Dongli Qihuang's defense was established, Du Xiaofu's attack had already arrived before him. That monstrous sword light suddenly slashed down like the sharpest weapon in the world, and it carried boundless origin energy as it destroyed the barrier in front of him in the blink of an eye. Swish! 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 During this entire process, Du Xiaofu's sword light was swiftly exhausted, and it had lost half of its strength. But in the end, the remaining force of the sword light still swept down from the sky and directly slashed onto Dongli Qihuang's body. PFFF. Such a terrifying attack instantly slashed apart half of Dongli Qihuang's body, causing devil blood to spray down. It's time to send both of you on your way. Du Xiaofu's gaze revealed an icy cold expression. His attack had succeeded and heavily injured Dongli Qihuang, so it would be much easier for him to kill Chen Yin and Chen Yin now. Despicable. A small portion of Dongli Qihuang's body on the left was slashed apart, and it fell down along with his left arm. Under the crushing force of Du Xiaofu's quintessence energy, it quickly transformed into a ball of bloody mist. Expanses of devil chi arose from his injuries, and only then was the remaining force completely wiped out and stopped the forceful corrosion. As he watched Du Xiaofu charge over once more, Dongli Qihuang didn't dare face him head-on. If he was careless, then he might really lose his life here today. Let's go. On the other side, Chen Yin realized that both of them weren't a match for Du Xiaofu. Under the circumstances that they were heavily injured, it wasn't too difficult for Du Xiaofu to kill the two of them. Presently, they could only seek help from the other experts of the devil race and ask them to block Du Xiaofu's attacks. Do you think you can escape? Du Xiaofu's eyes were like ice as he looked indifferently at the two of them. Rumble. Under his control, the 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons drew 9 straight lines and directly chased after the 2 demon attendants. The 9 cauldrons crushed space as they followed closely behind the 2 of them. Coupled with the aggressive Du Xiaofu who held the violet gold heavenly tower in his hand, it caused the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Chen Yin to not even dare to look back, and they only cared about fleeing in silence. A unique scene quickly appeared on the battlefield. In the endless state of chaotic battle, Du Xiaofu chased after the 2 demon attendants with all his might and refused to stop. He was completely determined to kill the 2 of them. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin didn't dare to face Du Xiaofu at all. They constantly shuttled back and forth between the other experts of the devil race, asking for help from others. However, when the other experts of the devil race attacked Du Xiaofu, the people of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds also attacked, causing the 2 of them to have no way to escape. Damn Du Xiaofu, I'll make you pay back 100 times for everything you've done one day. Dongli Qihuang gritted his teeth tightly and said hatefully. He already hated Du Xiaofu to the core. He could only blame himself for being weak and unable to do anything to the other party. From the bottom of his heart, Dongli Chihuang only wanted to suppress Du Xiaofu and cut him into 1,000 pieces to eliminate the hatred in his heart. Humph! Du Xiaofu's face was cold, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. He didn't answer and just moved fiercely again and again, constantly chasing after the two of them. However, his advantage in this place was very difficult to change the situation of the entire battlefield. The Devil Race's offensive was extremely powerful and terrifying, and the battle between the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds was extremely fierce. Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong, the 4 half-step Dao realization realm experts, were beginning to show signs of weakness and were suppressed by the 7 devil generals. Perhaps they wouldn't be defeated for the time being, but if the situation continued to develop, it would only be a matter of time. Prepare to retreat. There's no need to continue fighting. I don't know if Xiaoyu has other arrangements, but why is there still no news from him? Di Batian suddenly said to Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Yanghua, and the other experts through voice transmission. He didn't want to wait any longer. If this dragged on, he, Donghuang Taixian, and the others would no longer be able to withstand the attacks of the 7 devil generals. As time went on, they would only fall into a dead end. Since Lu Xiaoyu hadn't taken any further action, perhaps something had really happened. Let's retreat. The Nirvana realm experts should retreat first. Seated forgetful and half-step Dao realization realm experts, bring up the rear. When Lu Jingyan heard Di Batian's words, he nodded and said, that's right. Then, everyone began to send voice transmissions to the experts in the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless worlds to prepare to retreat and leave the 18 layers of hell. It seems like we have no choice but to retreat. Du Xiaofu, who was chasing after Dongli, Geng Huang, and Chen Yin, sighed softly. They couldn't continue fighting in the 18 layers of hell. If senior brother Lu Xiaoyu didn't appear, it would be difficult for them to advance further. Chapter 29:38. Retreat. Return to the Devil Ancestor Battle Realm and resist the Devil Race. Du Xiaofu sighed slightly with emotion, and then he didn't hesitate to call out to all the experts and retreat. Under the guidance of the half-step Enlightened Realm and Meditative Realm experts, the millions of Eternal Realm experts from the 33 heavens and 3,000 worlds started to retreat in an orderly manner. A dense expanse of figures surged out like tidewater. Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Chu Daoju, Ling Feng, Long San, and the others had abandoned their opponents and intended to leave the 16th level of hell. Du Xiaofu stopped pursuing Dongli Chihuang and Chen Yin, and he gathered together with Lu Jingyun and the others to form a defensive force and cover the retreat of the experts. This kind of situation caused the Eastern Flame Crimson Phoenix and Chen Yin, who were chased to the point they had nowhere to go, to be stunned. The situation had changed a little too quickly, and it was unexpected to them and caused them to be slightly puzzled. Just a moment ago, they were still engaged in an earth-shattering battle. Everyone from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds were mustering all their energy and vowing to kill their way into the 18th layer of hell. So, why did they suddenly retreat? Such a situation caused the 2 devil attendants to be extremely puzzled. Huff! Dongli Chihuang and Chen Yin glanced at each other, and then they heaved a long sigh of relief at the same time. Even though they were puzzled, Du Xiaofu stopping pursuing them caused the pressure they faced to be instantly reduced greatly. The threat was gone, and they didn't have to face the shadow of death at all times. Could it be that something unexpected has occurred since the 33 heavens and 3,000 worlds suddenly retreated? Dongli Chihuang spoke as he gazed at Chen Yin and asked, I presume it's like that. The conflict between these fellows and our devil race was originally irreconcilable, yet they suddenly wanted to leave. Something unexpected has surely occurred, and that's why they've acted like this. We've been in the 18th level of hell for a long time, yet the master of the 3,000 worlds, Lu Xiaoyu, hasn't made an appearance. Perhaps a flaw has occurred in the plan he arranged. Chen Yin pondered for a moment before he nodded and spoke these words. Dongli Chihuang fell into a short silence. He felt that Shun Yan's words made sense. Du Xiaofu and the others had been in the 18 levels of hell for many years. They had experienced countless battles and broken through layer after layer of broken seals. Only now did they reach the 16th level of hell. Normally, they should rush into the 18th level of hell in one go and stop the Lord Demon Ancestor from recovering. However, it was clear that the several million people present in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds would not be able to do that. Only the master of the 3,000 great worlds, Lu Xiaoyu, would be able to pose a threat to the Lord. However, up until now, they still hadn't seen Lu Xiaoyu make an appearance. The most likely possibility was that there had been some deviation in his plans. That was why he had to change his original arrangements and order the people of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds to retreat. Otherwise, if they were to fight the devil race at this time, countless people would die. Dongli Qihuang and Qin Yin both knew that Lu Xiaoyu's plan was far-reaching. It was impossible for him to watch so many experts of the two worlds die here. The result he wanted was to defeat the devil race and kill the Lord Demon Ancestor while protecting the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds. He didn't want to shake the foundations of these two worlds. Lu Xiaoyu is arrogant and ignorant. Even if he has reached the Tao Carrier realm, how can a Hotian life form understand the strength of the Lord Demon Ancestor? No matter how many tricks he has, it's impossible for him to compete with the Lord Demon Ancestor at his peak. Dongli Qihuang sneered, his eyes full of disdain. He only felt that Lu Xiaoyu was an extremely arrogant person who dared to scheme against the entire devil race just because he had some strength. In any case, Dongli Qihuang didn't believe that a Hotian life form who had broken through to the Tao Carrier realm could really challenge an ancient fiend god who possessed the power of formless. No matter how hard he tried, it would be in vain. Once the Lord Demon Ancestor recovered, the Lord Demon Ancestor would be able to break through it with ease. The only thing he had to worry about was Du Xiaofu. He absolutely couldn't allow that kid's strength to improve too quickly. At the very least, he couldn't sit by and watch Du Xiaofu step foot into the Tao Carrier realm before the Lord Demon Ancestor recovered. Otherwise, Du Xiaofu would really be a huge threat to the Lord Demon Ancestor. Lu Xiaoyu can't be underestimated. It's best to be careful. Qian Yin had a solemn expression on his face, and he shook his head and said, "Don't the people of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds want to leave? No matter what sort of variables appear, we absolutely can't watch as they leave the 18 levels of hell. A few million people have entered the territory of my devil race, so they have to leave some lives behind. At the very least, it'll cause more trouble for Lu Xiaoyu's arrangements." He revealed a ferocious expression as he spoke. Exactly. What do they think the territory of my devil dimension is? Do they think they can come and go as they please? Dongli Qihuang nodded and spoke coldly. He fully agreed with Chen Yan's words. At this moment, the few million people of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds had started to retreat, so it was very obvious that an unusual situation had occurred. It was exactly because of this that it was an opportunity for the devil race. So long as they obstructed their path of retreat, then they would be able to cause trouble for Lu Xiaoyu's arrangements, so why not? When they thought up to here, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin didn't waste any more time, and they immediately commanded a large number of devil experts to move out. Stop them! Chen Yan's entire body was coiled with devil energy as he roared fiercely. Leave your lives behind if you want to leave. Kill them! Dongli Qihuang roared loudly as well, and his enormous voice shook space. At this moment, a small half of his body hadn't recovered, and the wound that Du Xiaofu had slashed open was enshrouded by devil energy. The two devil attendants stopped charging forward on their own, and they just issued numerous orders because the injuries they'd suffered were too heavy. Leave quickly. On the other side, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, and a few hundred meditative forgetfulness experts had formed a line and obstructed the path of the devil race's pursuit. Numerous terrifying attacks were launched, and it was like a tsunami that caused the heavens and the earth to seethe and the sky to collapse. At this moment, every single one of them had utilized all their strength to obstruct the devil race with all their might and buy time for the numerous eternal realm experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds to retreat. As for the small number of devil experts who'd passed through the blockade, they didn't care and allowed the enemy to pursue them. In the end, these devil experts who'd charged through the blockade would only be crushed by Chu Daoju and the other experts. How can you stop the advance of my devil race with just the few of you? In front of them, desolate fiend devil general swung his enormous axe horizontally, and terrifying devil energy descended from the sky and tore through the layers of space. Break! Blood god devil general roared ferociously. He held a blood-red longsword in his hand and pierced it towards Yang Guo. The 7 devil generals fought with all their might and launched fierce attacks against Du Xiaofu and the other experts. They only wanted to break through the blockade of these people and pursue the Eternal Realm experts. At the same time, the meditative forgetfulness experts of the devil race were also doing their best. Amidst the billowing devil energy, there were unimaginable attacks. A large number of Eternal Realm devils went around the defense of Du Xiaofu and the others and pursued directly. These mad dogs of the devil race are trying to drag us into a decisive battle. In the midst of the battle, Long Fault gritted his teeth and said, under the ferocious attacks of the devil race, it was difficult for their defense line to cover all sides. Many places revealed flaws, and many Eternal Realm devils took advantage of them to invade. Hearing Long Fault's words, Du Xiaofu and the others didn't make a sound. They knew that the devil race weren't fools. Since they'd suddenly started to retreat, something must have happened, or there must be other arrangements. Under such circumstances, it was completely within their expectations that the devil race would launch a terrifying pursuit. Just delay for a while more. Once the Eternal Realm experts retreat to a safe place, these 7 devil generals won't be able to hold us back. Du Xiaofu's words were deep as he said softly. Their plan was very simple, which was to let the Eternal Realm experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds retreat far away. When the time came, they'd catch up. Under such circumstances, the 7 devil generals might continue to pursue, but they wouldn't be able to form an effective attack against them. Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, and Du Xiaofu could use their own means to gather the strength of many meditative forgetfulness experts to fight. It was still possible for them to hold on until they got out of the 18 levels of hell. Kill! The 7 devil generals roared wildly, and their terrifying attacks were like a surging river. Di Batian and Yang Guo each fought 2 devil generals by themselves, while Donghuang Taixian, who was heavily injured, blocked Ming Luo devil general. The remaining poison spirit, which, Lu Xintong, was also facing 2 devil generals at the same time. However, not long after, other than Di Batian and Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo and Lu Xintong were gradually unable to hold on. They had just broken through to the half-step Great Path Realm and rushed over from the 3,000 boundless worlds. Their strength was far from being on par with Di Batian and Donghuang Taixian. Yang Guo and Lu Xintong each showed signs of defeat under the attacks of the 2 devil generals. They were about to lose. If this dragged on, it was likely that he would be suppressed. Take your time to deal with these people. The 6 of you, hold back these 4. I'll deal with the rest. Didn't they want to leave? It's not that easy. At this moment, the desolate fiend devil general's eyes flashed. He instantly abandoned Yang Guo and left the battlefield, charging towards Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Lu Yuxiao, Long Ke, and the others. Oh no! When the people of the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless worlds saw this, they were all shocked. The desolate fiend devil general's intention was very obvious. Di Batian and the other 3 devil generals were holding back the 6 devil generals and could not free themselves. As for Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the rest of the meditative realm experts, when faced with such a great path realm expert, it would only be a one-sided massacre. The devil generals of the devil clan were just too many. They could not defend against them at all. Retreat! Retreat together! Di Batian immediately shouted and passed down the order to everyone. Behind them, the immortal realm experts had already retreated quite a distance. They could be considered to have opened up a relatively safe distance. If the few hundred of them were to continue fighting at this moment, the situation would be extremely bad. Let's go. The meditative realm experts did not dare to delay any longer. When they saw the desolate fiend devil general raise the giant axe in his hand, they immediately left their opponents behind and headed towards the 15th level of hell. However, How could the desolate fiend devil general allow them to leave so easily? Slash. A shout came from his mouth, and then a terrifying buzzing sound erupted. It was as if the world's heaviest weapon was crushing the void, and it carried the pressure of Mount Tai. There was also an incomparably sharp aura shooting out, causing one's scalp to go numb. This attack turned into an axe shadow that was larger than a mountain. It came down from the sky and chopped down on Du Xiaofu and the rest. It was not hard to imagine that if this attack landed, at least a small number of the meditative realm experts in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds would die. Help me in this battle. Faced with this situation, Du Xiaofu immediately shouted. There was no need for him to say anything. Lu Jingyun and the rest of the experts moved in an instant. All of them followed Du Xiaofu's lead and quickly closed in on him. In an instant, the terrifying 8 trigrams appeared again. It occupied the void and emitted a terrifying light. The power of hundreds of meditative realm experts was quickly mobilized by Du Xiaofu. It was like a surging river, flowing along the patterns of the 8 trigrams into his body. However, the desolate fiend devil general's attack was about to land on his head. The formation formed by Du Xiaofu and the rest of the experts was restrained by a monstrous force and could not break free. An earth-shattering roar came from Du Xiaofu's throat. He was under unimaginable pressure. In a hurry, he quickly mobilized his power and condensed an origin source sky splitter sword. He attacked the desolate fiend devil general's attack. Endless sword light soared into the sky, carrying with it a boundless sharpness. In the blink of an eye, it collided with the desolate fiend devil general's axe shadow. Chi. When these two completely different forces collided, they immediately exploded. Du Xiaofu's sword light was crushed by the ferocious force and was quickly obliterated. However, in the process, the desolate fiend devil general's axe shadow was also greatly exhausted. It only had more than half of its power left and continued to swing down towards Du Xiaofu and the rest. Block it for me. Du Xiaofu shouted and waved his arm. The 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons tore through the sky and continued to block. However, the power of the 9 cauldrons was clearly unable to stop the desolate fiend devil general. They were quickly sent flying one by one, creating a series of crashing sounds. Break! Du Xiaofu's forehead was already covered in fine beads of sweat. All sorts of methods fell one after another. Streaks of light, afterimages of fists, and waves of origin energy were unleashed in an attempt to obliterate the desolate demon general's final attack. However, his strength was still extremely insignificant compared to a Dao Carrier Realm expert. Even if this Dao Carrier Realm expert was seriously injured and could not unleash all his strength, boom! In the blink of an eye, before Du Xiaofu could complete his series of methods, the remnant axe shadow had already descended and brazenly chopped down on the 8 trigrams outside him. With a monstrous bang, Du Xiaofu and the hundreds of meditative realm experts were directly sent flying by such an attack. The huge 8 trigrams seal rolled in the void, crushing the space into chaos. It was incomparably terrifying. Kiki, you can't escape death in the end. The desolate fiend devil general laughed sinisterly and raised the demon axe in his hand again, preparing for another attack. Du Xiaofu's eyes were gloomy. Ignoring the tremors in his body, he immediately organized a new round of defense. It was obviously not possible to fight the desolate fiend devil general head-on. The other party was too strong. Du Xiaofu was still unable to deal with him now. The only thing he could do was to keep stalling for time, and at the same time evacuate to the outside world. Once he left the 18 levels of hell, these devil clansmen would presumably have some scruples and would not come out in large numbers. With this thought in mind, Du Xiaofu circulated the power condensed by hundreds of experts again and again, launching a series of attacks with the desolate fiend devil general. He unleashed the azure spirit armor, and the azure dragon's body danced in the air, like a majestic mountain twisting and twisting. However, the desolate fiend devil general's strength was too terrifying. After a long period of attacks, finally at a certain moment, a terrifying axe shadow fell down. The array formed by hundreds of people also disintegrated in an instant. Figures flew out, and were thrown in all directions. Puff, puff, puff. Many people spat out blood from their mouths, piercing through the sky. Under the desolate fiend devil general's attack, the array formed by Du Xiaofu and the others directly collapsed. This attack could be said to have condensed all the strength that the desolate fiend devil general could unleash. It was still not something that Du Xiaofu and the rest could contend against. Lu Jingyun, Lu Yuxiao, Lu Ying, Long Ke, Long Su and the other experts could no longer maintain the array. And the person who suffered the heaviest injuries was none other than Du Xiaofu. His azure dragon body split open, with fresh blood spurting out. The dragon scales also rolled, revealing flesh and blood. Although this state was not as miserable as the last time, it was not much better. The desolate fiend devil general's continuous attacks caused Du Xiaofu to lose more than half of his battle strength, and was unable to condense the power of the 8 trigrams again. The most terrible thing was, after the hundreds of figures scattered, the desolate fiend devil general once again charged over with the giant axe in his hand. Buzz buzz. The devil chi in his body circulated frantically, forming another axe shadow, including dozens of figures, and chopped down. Among these dozens of people, Du Xiaofu and Lu Jingyun were among them. At this moment, the complexions of many people in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds became pale. When the desolate fiend devil general's attack landed, Du Xiaofu and the rest who lost the power of the 8 trigrams array formation no longer had the slightest strength to resist. In the hands of a Dao carrier powerhouse, they were not much different from ants. They would likely be suppressed and obliterated in an instant. Kikik, in the Devil Race's lineup, when Dongli Chihuang and Chen Yin saw this scene, both of them laughed gloomily. At this moment, their hearts were incomparably carefree. But at the same time, the two of them were also praying, hoping that no accidents would happen this time. Chapter 29:39. The two devil attendants, Dongli Chihuang and Chen Yin, were staring fixedly at the Desolation Devil General's attack. Their eyes were opened extremely wide, and they just wanted to see Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others being annihilated with a single strike. The two devil attendants had seen too many unexpected occurrences. That kid, Du Xiaofu, was too tenacious, and he'd escaped from the shadow of death time and time again. Right now, there was another excellent opportunity to kill Du Xiaofu and prevent this huge calamity from befalling him. At this moment, Dongli Chihuang and Chen Yan's hearts couldn't help but thump, and they felt nervous. In their field of vision, the terrifying image of the Desolation Devil General's axe descended from the sky, and it was domineering and capable of shaking the Grand Dao while shooting out with mighty force. Boundless energy enveloped Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and a few dozen meditated realm experts from the 33 heavens and 3,000 worlds. Under the suppression of a Dao-bearing realm devil general, these people didn't even have the slightest chance to resist. Die. Such words came from the mouth of the Desolation Devil General. A wisp of a cold smile appeared on the corners of his mouth, and he controlled the enormous axe to slash down. In his eyes, those weak living beings were already destined to die, and it was impossible for them to escape. Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others had the same thoughts in their hearts. The Desolation Devil General was too strong. He possessed a cultivation at the Dao-bearing realm, so even if he'd lost his peak strength, he could still look down on a large number of meditated realm experts like ants. Du Xiaofu had gathered the strength of a few hundred experts, yet he was still unable to stop the Desolation Devil General. After a series of attacks, the 8 trigrams formation was destroyed, and everyone was directly exposed to the Desolation Devil General's attacks. Will there be more reinforcements? Du Xiaofu couldn't help but smile bitterly, and such a thought suddenly appeared in his heart. Senior brother Lu Xiaoyou's arrangements wouldn't have not considered such a situation. At this moment, they were no match for the Desolation Devil General. If no reinforcements came, they could only wait for death. Fortunately, there were many experts who had retreated far away. The millions of Immortal Realm experts had also gone to a relatively safe place after being delayed by them. As long as Di Batian, Donghuang Taixin, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong could successfully escape, they would have a great chance to bring those experts out of the 18 levels of hell. It could be considered as preserving the overall strength of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds. However, contrary to Du Xiaofu's expectations, the 4 enlightened realm experts from the 3,000 great thousand worlds shuddered when they saw Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others in a precarious situation. It was as if they had seen something extremely terrifying. Lu and Lu Jingyun's, and the others. Lu Jingyun had had a close relationship with Had, Lu Yi's, and Lu Yang, and An and Lu had a special relationship to them. However, Yang was suddenly shouted and completely ignored the attack of a demon general opposite him. He swung the heavy sword in his hand, and a terrifying sword light flew directly towards the desolation demon general. Chi-La, this frightening sword glow shocked the world as it broke through the void. At this critical juncture, it blocked the desolate demon general's axe shadow and Du Xiaofu's group. The two domineering attacks collided and instantly exploded, turning into a torrential energy that filled the void. The bodies of Du Xiaofu and the others were like small boats in a storm, and they were directly swept up into the sky and wantonly whipped. Almost at the same time, Yang Guo was hit in the chest by the demon general's palm. Bang! A dull sound reverberated, like a heavy hammer hitting a muffled drum. His body drew a straight line, and he was thrown far away by the great force. A terrifying wound exploded in Yang Guo's chest. Blood was dripping, and one could clearly see his beating organs. In order to block the Desolation Demon General's killing blow for Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others, Yang Guo had paid a great price. I would like to see how many times you can save them. Seeing that his attack had been blocked, the Desolation Demon General sneered. He glanced coldly at Yang Guo, and then looked in the direction of Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others. At this time, the two of them and the dozens of meditative realm cultivators had already been blown far away by the violent energy. The Desolation Demon General stepped into the air again and walked towards where the others were. Demonic aura surged from all over his body, and it was like a raging wave. Boundless energy vibrated, and like many demonic dragons, it surrounded Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others. This is bad. In the distance, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, and Lu Xintong frowned when they saw this scene, and anxiety appeared in their eyes. They couldn't attack anymore. Otherwise, it would be difficult for them to escape today. Moreover, the large number of immortal realm cultivators who had fled far away would also die without a burial place. At this time, everyone was at their wits' end, and they didn't know how to deal with it. In the fierce battle with the 6 devil generals, the 4 half-step enlightened realm cultivators also began to become more anxious. Let's see where Du Xiaofu and the others can run now. If those half-step enlightened realm cultivators come to their rescue, they will definitely suffer the same fate as Heavy Sword Yang Guo and be heavily injured by the other devil generals. After that, without the protection of these people, the millions of people in the 33 heavens won't be able to leave the 18 layers of hell alive. If they turn a blind eye and allow the Desolation Demon General to attack, Du Xiaofu and the others will die without a doubt. Kikik. This is a dead end. Let's see how they can break out of it. Dongli's Scarlet Phoenix sneered from the back of the devil army. Just as he said, the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds had reached a dead end. If the Desolation Demon General had stayed with the other 6 devil generals and fought to the end with Dibatian and Donghuang Taixian, he might have had a chance to escape by now. However, the Desolation Demon General's action of abandoning Yang Guo and charging towards Du Xiaofu and the others had directly broken the situation. In the distance, Du Xiaofu and the others were still in the midst of a boundless wave of energy. They couldn't even control their own bodies in time. However, at this time, they felt as if time had frozen. They were tightly suppressed by the Desolation Demon General and couldn't move at all. A sense of helplessness rose in everyone's hearts. When the axe descended from the sky, some experts even closed their eyes and bowed their heads in submission. Die. The Desolation Demon General's face was ferocious. He controlled the huge axe in his hand and charged towards Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others. As the terrifying aura spread, It had already begun to tear everyone's bodies apart. It was a terrifying scene. However, suddenly, a loud dragon roar rang out. The entire world was filled with a violent gust of wind, and the wind and clouds changed. A surging wave of energy rushed over, stirring up the boundless wind and rain. In the next instant, under everyone's gaze, an immeasurably long azure dragon stretched across the sky. The dragon's body twisted and turned as it charged forward, directly facing the Desolation Demon General's axe. The Desolation Demon General was stunned. However, he didn't have time to react. However, at this time, his incomparably ferocious attack was completely destroyed by the azure dragon. The terrifying axe that seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth was quickly crushed into pieces by the powerful azure dragon's body and scattered into the void. All of this happened extremely quickly. As soon as it started, it was already over. At this time, the experts of the 33 heavens, the 3,000 boundless worlds, and the devil race finally reacted. Xiaolong. Xiaolong is here. Seeing the appearance of the azure dragon, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others were overjoyed. How could they not recognize the azure dragon? Other than the lord of the 3,000 boundless worlds, Lu Xiaoyou's best brother, Long Xian, who was respectfully called Dragon God by the world, who else could it be? Long Xian, Dongli Qihuang, and Chen Yin immediately understood that the person who had come must be the dragon god from the divine martial world. Just like Lu Xiaoyu, many legends have been passed down. Seeing this scene, their faces darkened again. They prayed again and again, hoping that there wouldn't be any unexpected changes. However, they didn't expect another expert to arrive. Moreover, this person was the best brother of the Lord of the 3,000 boundless worlds, Lu Xiaoyu. Could it be that it was really as His Excellency had said, that it was almost impossible for them to kill Du Xiaofu with just the few of them? Father, in the distance, on the road to the 15th layer of hell, millions of people from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds were moving quickly. However, among them, a slender and beautiful figure suddenly froze on the spot and looked back. Little Xingxing, what's wrong? Seeing that the figure had stopped, Du Xiaoyao immediately stopped and came to the woman's side. She looked at her with concern and asked, "Father, it's my father's aura. He's here." Suddenly, tears flowed from the corners of little Xingxing's eyes and slid down her cheeks. She turned her head and looked in the direction of the distant battlefield. Even though it was very far away, she could still feel a familiar aura coming from it. Little Xingxing was not unfamiliar with this aura at all. She had come into contact with this aura thousands of years ago in the divine martial world. This aura belonged to her biological father. The dragon god is here? Du Xiaoyao was also stunned. She lowered her head and pondered for a moment. Then, she pulled little Xingxing up and said, "Let's go. I'll accompany you to find your father." "Yes. Thank you, Uncle Little Yao." Little Xingxing nodded fiercely with tears in her eyes. "Let's go." Du Xiaoyao did not say anything and just smiled gently. He had watched little Xingxing grow up and knew her background very well. For so many years, little Xingxing had always wanted to see her biological father. She originally thought that after coming to the 33 heavens, she would soon reunite with her family. Who would have thought that after thousands of years, the babbling little Xingxing had already grown into a slender and elegant young lady? Du Xiaoyao was very emotional. This little girl's heart had endured too much yearning. Year after year, month after month, year after year. Therefore, after little Xingxing sensed the aura of the dragon god, Du Xiaoyao immediately decided to go back with her. Even if they had to face the attacks of many demon experts, they would definitely fight their way out. "Let's go and take a look." The others continued to evacuate. Chu Daoju, Long San, Ling Feng, and some Immortal Realm experts from the 3,000 sectors immediately turned around and followed Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing. As for the other millions of experts, they continued to move forward at full speed and headed to the 15th level of hell. Before they received a new order, they would not linger at all. Finally, an important figure has appeared. In the battlefield behind, Desolation Demon General's eyes shone. In front of him, The terrifying green dragon shone brightly and quickly turned into the appearance of a young man in golden clothes. Just by standing there, the young man exuded an inexplicably domineering aura that made people dare not underestimate him. Desolation Demon General had some understanding of such an expert from the two demon servants. Based on his intuition, he guessed that this person must be the second strongest expert in the 3,000 sectors, known as the Dragon God. Jingyun, Yu Xiao, and you, are you all right? Xiaolong did not immediately pay attention to Desolation Demon General. Instead, he turned his gaze to the dozens of experts behind him and finally looked at Du Xiaofu and asked with concern, Uncle Xiaolong, you've come at the right time. We're fine. We won't die yet. Lu Jingyun lifted his sleeve and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The wounds on his body wriggled and began to heal slowly on their own. Greetings, Dragon God. Du Xiaofu did not dare to be negligent and bowed gently. He knew the relationship between senior brother Lu Xiaoyu and the man in front of him. Moreover, he had a blood connection with little Xingxing. However, Xiaolong was a terrifying expert after all. He was a rare existence in this world. Naturally, Du Xiaofu would not be rude. You're welcome. Since you're boss junior brother, you can call me Brother Xiaolong. Xiaolong smiled faintly and said to Du Xiaofu, Brother Xiaolong. Du Xiaofu nodded. Given his relationship with little Xingxing, it was not appropriate for him to address Xiaolong as a senior. Hence, he could only agree. All right, we'll talk about this later. Let's leave first. Xiaolong waved his sleeve and said to Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others. However, these words caused them to be slightly taken aback. Logically speaking, since Lu Xiaoyu had arranged for so many experts to enter the 18 levels of hell, he should not have ended things so hastily. Previously, they had waited for a long time and did not see him. Everyone guessed that something must have happened. However, now that Xiaolong had arrived, Lu Xiaoyu should have appeared as well. Could it be that something big had really happened? Let's go. Although they were confused, Du Xiaofu and the others did not ask any more questions. They immediately flew away and retreated into the distance. At this time, the hundreds of experts from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds also retreated. However, they were once again surrounded by the experts from the demon clan. An intense battle broke out again. Fortunately, these people did not want to fight at all. They only wanted to leave the 18 levels of hell. For the time being, there was not much danger. However, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong were already in a precarious situation under the suppression of the 6 great demon generals. If they did not interfere, the situation would become dangerous. Do you think that clowns like you can stop us? Xiaolong's eyes suddenly turned around, sweeping over the desolate fiend devil general, releasing a cold intent. His gaze was like lightning that pierced through the void. It was like a sharp divine knife that cut everything in its path into chaos. It's just one more person. What can you do? If the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds, Lu Xiaoyu, does not come personally, no one can save millions of people like you. The desolate demon general sneered and said. There were a total of 7 demon generals on his side. On the other hand, there were only 5 half-step Great Dao Realm experts on the other side, including the Dragon God who had just arrived. If they were at their peak, the 7 of them might be afraid. However, the situation was different now. Donghuang Taixian and Yanghua were both seriously injured. It was obvious that they were not strong enough to stop one of the demon generals. In addition, Dibatian and Lu Xintong were unable to share too much of the pressure. No matter what, the desolate demon general did not believe that Long Xian alone could stop them. Whether I can stop them or not, we'll know once we try. Xiaolong did not waste any more time. He took advantage of the situation and struck out with a powerful force. It was like a vast ocean with torrential waves that swept through the 9 heavens. The terrifying force entangled the desolate demon general in an instant. At the same time, the boundless force that Xiaolong had unleashed spread to the battlefield where Yanghua and the others were. It's not the ancient times anymore. With trash like you, I can beat the 3 of you by myself. I'll beat you until your teeth fall out. As Xiaolong spoke, The ferocious Locust Demon General and Duoyu Demon General were quickly pulled away from Debatian and the others. Instead, they were brought to Xiaolong. From the looks of it, he was going to fight the three demon generals on his own. Xiaolong, be careful. These demon generals are very strong. With Xiaolong's actions, Debatian and the others felt more relaxed. Now, they only had one demon general left to deal with. However, at the same time, they became nervous and reminded Xiaolong loudly. They did not want him to be too careless and underestimate the demon generals. After all, Debatian and Donghuang Taixian had already suffered a great loss when facing the three demon generals. Their strength was no match for the three demon generals at the same time. On the other hand, Xiaolong's cultivation was not much weaker than Debatian and Donghuang Taixian. If he forced his way through, the outcome would only worsen. Don't worry. I can still deal with these useless chickens and pottery dogs. Xiaolong raised his voice and replied, You're courting death. Do you really think that the three of us are so weak? The Desolate Demon General, Ferocious Locust Demon General, and Duoyu Demon General were furious. They had never been looked down upon like this before. The man in front of them was so arrogant. He did not seem to care about the three of them at all. One should know that the three demon generals were infamous in the ancient era. They were true experts who had carried the Tao. However, due to being sealed for countless years, their strength was not as strong as before. Even so, they would not allow others to look down on them. Chapter 2940. Since he's courting death, how can we not fulfill his wish? Demon General Duoyu said with a sinister smile. He and the fierce Locust Devil General didn't resist the pull of the Dragon God's power. Instead, they followed the direction of the Dragon God's power and charged towards the golden-robed young man. Kill! Xiaolong roared. His roar was so loud that it shook the heavens and earth. His feet moved as though he was stepping on the veins of the great Tao. An indescribable aura surged from his body. His entire body seemed to have become incomparably tall and majestic. It was as though he represented the highest existence in the world. Everyone felt a sense of reverence for him. A large number of Immortal Realm experts of the Demon Clan in the distance felt their legs go soft under the pressure. They wanted to kneel down and worship the Demon Clan. Xiaolong's cultivation has increased again. Debatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong's expressions tightened as they muttered in their hearts. For these people, they could clearly sense things that ordinary people couldn't pry into. As one of the strongest experts in the 3,000 universes, they were very clear about Xiaolong's strength. In the past, Donghuang Taixian and Debatian were at the same level as Xiaolong. They were still a distance away from the carrier realm. However, it was obvious that Xiaolong had left them in the dust. He was closer to the great Tao. At this moment, Xiaolong was probably close to the carrier realm. Perhaps, he was just a little bit away from stepping into the carrier realm. If that's the case, I'll leave the three devil generals to him. He should be able to handle them. Yanghua said in a soft voice. Then, the four of them didn't say anything else. Each of them went all out against a devil general and started a frenzied battle. Die! The desolate fiend devil general shouted. The giant axe in his hand rose into the sky. Then, as endless energy gathered, it transformed into the image of a mountain and slammed down on Xiaolong's head. How dare you be so arrogant with this little bit of strength? Xiaolong snorted coldly, and his figure rose into the sky. With a short flash, he transformed back into his original form of the Azure Dragon and appeared right below the desolate fiend devil general's giant axe. Following which, his dragon tail swept out and whipped down with the force of 1,000 kilograms. With a rumble, Xiaolong's tail smashed the axe to pieces before it could fully take shape. It turned into a violent wave of energy that filled the sky. Countless inscriptions of the ways of the world revolved around it. On the other side, the ferocious locust demon general's body transformed into a gigantic locust. Its entire body glowed with a pitch-black light, as if it was forged from iron armor. As the vicious locust demon general's hands vibrated at high speed, a large number of tiny black shadows rushed out from his body. Like a swarm of mosquitoes, they fiercely pounced on the little dragon. This group of black shadows was actually fist-sized locusts. Each of them had the power of an ordinary early immortal realm expert. They were so dense that they covered the entire sky. Roar. Faced with this situation, Xiaolong did not waste any more words and directly let out a terrifying roar, following which a large amount of golden flames spurted out from his dragon mouth. It was like a boundless sea of fire that burned everything. The locusts that filled the sky were burned by the golden flames and fell from the sky. However, in just a moment, they were all turned into pitch-black ashes. They could not get close to Xiaolong's body at all. Die. Suddenly, Demon General Duo Yu's figure changed. Like a ghost, he appeared and disappeared unpredictably. In an instant, he appeared beside Xiaolong and slammed his palm down on the little dragon's head. For ordinary living beings, they relied on the grand Daos of the heavens and the earth, or the quintessence energy of the laws to fight. Every single move they made carried the aura of the Tao or drew upon the invisible energy of the laws, and it was traceable. However, Demon General Duo Yu was different. His movements were extremely ghostly, and it was difficult to catch the traces of his stealth. As he appeared and disappeared unpredictably, he could launch a surprise attack on his opponent. Playing such petty tricks in front of me? You're courting death. Xiaolong opened his dragon mouth and roared. Soon after, he suddenly extended his hand, and a pair of dragon claws tore downwards. Strangely, the endless space around him seemed to freeze in an instant. The great Tao stopped flowing, the laws stopped rotating, and the Demon General Duo Yu's body was temporarily bound. Under the tearing of Xiaolong's dragon claws, a powerful force surged out and directly tore the frozen space into pieces. It was as if it wanted to tear Demon General Duo Yu into pieces. Swish, swish. However, Demon General Duo Yu was not someone to be trifled with. The moment his body shattered, he once again used his signature move and escaped into the distance. This kid is so strong. We can't be careless. Desolate Fiend Demon General's face turned cold as he solemnly said. In a single exchange, the three demon generals attacked at the same time, but their attacks were easily broken by the other party. It was obvious that this dragon god's strength was extremely terrifying. He was already infinitely close to the Tao Carrier realm. Even if they were at their peak, they would still be able to barely contend against him. Kill. How could the three demon generals give up just like that? All of them gathered even more power and launched a new round of attacks, launching an even more terrifying attack on Xiaolong. Come, let this daddy teach you how to be human. Terrifying roars came from Xiaolong's mouth. He and the three demon generals clashed together, crazily clashing against each other. Desolate Fiend Demon General swung his axe again and again, as if he was splitting the sky. Every strike carried the most terrifying force. The fierce Locust Demon General no longer attacked fearlessly. He put away all the small locusts and only continued to attack. As his pitch-black wings flapped, it was like a sharp blade cutting through the sky. Demon General Duo Yu continued to use his best move. His figure appeared and disappeared like a ghost as he constantly attacked, intending to injure Xiaolong. It had to be said that the three demon generals were extremely powerful. Xiaolong could not form an absolute suppression against the three of them. Under the continuous attacks of the three people, wounds began to appear on his dragon body, and blood began to flow out. However, the situation of the three demon generals was worse. Xiaolong's strength was extremely profound. Although he couldn't take down the three of them in a short period of time, he still had the upper hand. From time to time, the three demon generals would be attacked. Desolate Fiend Demon General was hit by Xiaolong's tail, and his chest caved in. Fierce Locust Demon General was burned by the terrifying flames, and black smoke rose from his body. Demon General Duo Yu was hit by Xiaolong's claws, and a pitch-black wound appeared on his body, with black blood flowing out. This battle was the most important battle of the entire battlefield. Everyone's attention was focused on this battle from time to time. Seeing that Xiaolong was not suppressed by the three demon generals, but instead had the upper hand, Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Gua, and Lu Xintong couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. They were finally relieved. If they wanted to retreat this time, it wouldn't be a problem. With Xiaolong's help, they were able to fend off the attacks of the 7 devil generals. As for the devils in the meditative realm, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others could easily deal with them. Damned Long Xian. If it wasn't for him, Du Xiaofu would be dead by now. In the distance, Dongli Qihuang's hands were clenched so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. He was extremely furious. He couldn't wait to cut Long Xian into pieces to vent the hatred in his heart. That fellow was really too hateful. The demon race clearly had the upper hand, and Du Xiaofu was about to die in the hands of desolate fiend demon general. Who would have thought that Long Xian would suddenly appear and change the situation? Moreover, at this moment, he was actually able to resist 3 devil generals by himself. This truly caused the 2 devil attendants to be astounded. It's fine. Let them be. The mission that Sir gave us has been completed. If they really want to retreat, we can no longer stop them. As for Du Xiaofu, we'll leave him to deal with after Sir recovers. Chun Yin spoke softly to Dongli Qihuang. Just as he'd said, before Sir Devil Ancestor entered the 17th level of Hell, he'd sent the 2 of them to lead the experts to obstruct Du Xiaofu's group. The objective wasn't to kill that kid, and it was merely to buy time for Sir to recover so that he wouldn't be disturbed. Now that such a long period of time had passed, Sir Devil Ancestor had entered the 18th level of Hell smoothly, and Sir Devil Ancestor had probably started to come into contact with the 18th Soul Core. So, it wouldn't take long for him to recover. On the other hand, the 33 heavens and 3,000 worlds had inexplicably aroused the intention to retreat, so they didn't have to worry about these fellows affecting Sir Devil Ancestor. Along with Long Xian's arrival, it was very difficult for the demon race to stop these fellows from leaving. If they couldn't do anything about it, then they might as well just allow them to leave. In short, Sir Devil Ancestor's orders had been completed. As for Du Xiaofu, even though Chen Yin spoke in a relaxed manner, he still couldn't conceal the worry in his heart. That kid is truly too strange, and he can't be judged by convention at all. He was truly unable to imagine how Chen Shi would be able to face Chen Shi if Chen Shi had already stepped foot into the Dao Vessel realm before Sir Devil Ancestor recovered. Chen Shi was a huge threat that could affect the fate of the entire demon race. However, Chun Yin wasn't completely worried. After all, Sir Devil Ancestor was clearly aware of all of this. Since he dared to give such orders, then he definitely had his own confidence. Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin didn't speak further, and both of them watched the situation on the battlefield with burning gazes. Rumble. A string of collisions were still being carried out between Long Xian and the 3 demon generals on the other side. Those terrifying attacks descended like a tsunami, and they carried terrifying quintessence energy, and a unique aura of the Grand Tao emanated from them. This sort of Grand Tao wasn't like the energy of the 18 levels of Hell, and it was something they'd comprehended themselves. Even though it wasn't complete, it was already in its embryonic form. Expanses of chaos had been blasted into the heavens and the earth, and 4 figures were flying about and fighting each other. At this moment, the Desolate Demon General, Fierce Locust Demon General, and Duo Yu Devil General had suffered some deep injuries. Even though it didn't affect their combat strength much, they still couldn't be underestimated. It was the same for Long Xian. Numerous injuries had appeared on his body, and they were all caused by the 3 demon generals. However, comparatively speaking, Xiaolong's injuries weren't enough to affect his ability to fight. Xiaolong, we should retreat. On the other side, Di Batian called out, and he sent a voice transmission to the other 4 as he fought a demon general. At this moment, the numerous Eternal Realm experts from the 33 heavens and 3,000 universes had charged very far away. They were pursued by the experts of the demon race, but they weren't able to form an encirclement. On the other hand, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Long Ke, and a few hundred other meditative realm experts were facing the encirclement of the demon race. Fortunately, these people didn't linger in battle at all. On the other hand, Du Xiaofu had even utilized his special method to condense the strength of numerous experts and fled swiftly, causing the meditative realm experts to be unable to catch up to him at all. Next time, I'll definitely beat all of you up like dead dogs. Xiaolong snorted coldly. In an instant, he left the 3 demon generals behind and began to flee into the distance. Let's go. Yanghua, Lu Xintong, Dibatian, and Donghuang Taishian didn't delay at all. They also retreated at full speed and rushed into the distance. You want to leave? Not so easy. The 7 demon generals harumphed as their eyes narrowed. They launched an attack, not wanting to let the experts leave just like that. The 7 demon generals threw out ferocious attacks in an attempt to obstruct the 5 people in front of them. However, with Xiaolong's presence, these attacks were all blocked one by one. They couldn't stop the 5 people at all. Store those meditative realm experts and immortal realm experts into the independent space, Xiaolong said as they moved forward. The 5 of them were extremely fast. In just a moment, they had already caught up with Du Xiaofu and the others. Dibatian, Lu Xintong, and the other 3 instantly attacked. They launched a ferocious attack on the meditative realm experts who were chasing after Du Xiaofu and the others. Quick, dodge. The devil race didn't dare to fight head-on. They all wanted to escape. With so many half-step, Great Path Realm experts attacking, even if each of them had 100 lives, they wouldn't be able to withstand a single slap from the half-step, Great Path Realm experts. However, although these devil race experts' thoughts were good, their actions were far from being able to keep up with their thoughts. Many of them were turned into ashes in a single blow, dying an unnatural death. Let's go. Xiaolong waved his hand and summoned hundreds of meditative realm experts from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds to his side. He then kept them in an independent space, leaving only Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and a few others by his side. The group continued to move forward, unleashing their full strength. They were extremely fast. As time passed quickly, the scene in front of them soon appeared in their line of sight. There were many figures from the devil tribe there, but a wild and violent battle had broken out among them. It's Little Demon and Little Star. There's also Uncle Master Chu, Uncle Master Long, and Uncle Master Ling. Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others quickly saw the figures among them. They were Du Xiaoyao, Little Star, Chu Daoju, Long San, Ling Feng, and the other immortal realm experts. These people didn't seem to have left with the millions of experts. Instead, they were surrounded by the devil race experts. Facing the terrifying encirclement and killing, each of them had terrifying injuries. Among them, the most eye-catching one was Little Star. Her dress was dyed red with blood, and there were streaks of tears on her face. Her eager eyes looked over from time to time through the crowd of devil race experts. The moment Xiaolong's eyes met hers, his body suddenly trembled, as if he was frozen for a moment. My daughter. Suddenly, the eyes of the dragon god, who was famous in all the major worlds, turned red, and hot tears welled up in his eyes. This person with an extraordinary cultivation base, a rare existence in the world, was actually stupefied for a moment. But then, Xiaolong suddenly soared into the sky. His aura surged as he rushed toward the distance at full speed. At the same time, a fierce roar came out of his mouth. His murderous intent soared to the sky, and he was peerless. Get out of my way, devil race experts. As soon as Xiaolong's voice fell, he appeared in the middle of the endless encirclement of devil race experts. Roar! A violent dragon roar soared into the sky, carrying with it a boundless murderous intent. His dragon body suddenly appeared, and he launched a frenzied attack. This scene looked as if a terrifying mountain range had appeared in the midst of the demon army. It was moving at high speed, sweeping out with its dragon tail, which was accompanied by a series of muffled explosions. Countless undying demons were reduced to a bloody mist under such circumstances, floating in the air. The area turned into chaos. No one knew how many devil race experts were buried. At this moment, Xiaolong seemed to have gone mad. He launched a terrifying massacre on the immortal realm experts of the devil race. With his strength, killing these people was no different from chopping melons and chopping vegetables. Bastard! Behind Du Xiaofu and the others, the 7 devil generals and 2 devil attendants stomped their feet and cursed when they saw this scene. If they allowed Long Xian to continue killing like this, the millions of immortal realm experts of the devil race wouldn't be able to withstand his repeated attacks. If that was the case, when they conquered the 33 heavens in the future, would they be commanders without an army and completely rely on themselves to kill? Stop him. Go and stop him. Dong Li Huang and Chen Yan's faces were distorted as they roared loudly. The 7 devil generals also moved. No matter what, they couldn't watch Long Xian slaughter the devil race so wantonly. Little star, you father and daughter are finally reunited. Among everyone, Du Xiaofu revealed a knowing smile. Although he was extremely angry when he saw Little Star's current situation, the appearance of the dragon god made Du Xiaofu feel relieved. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart. There was joy, but there was also a bit of bitterness in his eyes. He had raised Little Star single-handedly, and there was no difference between them. Today, seeing her reunited with the dragon god, it could be said that Little Star had been relieved of a burden. Du Xiaofu was extremely happy and excited about this. After thousands of years of changes in the world, Little Star finally reunited with her biological father on this day. Chapter 29:41. Roar. Under the gaze of Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others, the dragon god's main body dashed through the crowd of demons, killing everything in its path. Countless demons were turned into a bloody mist by the dragon god's body. Their lives were taken by the dragon god. In just a short moment, at least hundreds of thousands of demons were killed. Such a scene stunned Du Xiaofu and the others. A half-step Dao realm expert charged into the crowd of immortal realm experts. It was a one-sided massacre. The opponents didn't even have the slightest chance to fight back. Everyone could see that the dragon god was truly enraged. Little Xingxing was his daughter, but she had been surrounded by the demon race army, and her entire body was covered in blood. As a father, he could not tolerate such a scene no matter what. Damn it! Damn it! Behind them, the 7 demon generals and 2 demon attendants had chased after the dragon god. All of them were furious. Their hearts were filled with hatred, and they rose up to attack, wanting to stop the dragon god. Get ready to stop them, Dibatian said softly with a gloomy face. Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, and Lu Xintong made their preparations. They were ready to step forward and stop the 7 demon generals from disturbing them. Father, but at this time, the dragon god who had fully unleashed his cultivation had already killed the immortal realm experts of the demon race. The demon army was defeated and scattered. Everyone was in a panic and quickly fled. A wide space appeared between Little Xingxing and the dragon god. Little Xingxing's eyes were hazy with tears as she looked at the dragon god's body that had returned to the appearance of a young man in golden robes. Daughter. The dragon god's eyes were also red. He quickly rushed forward and pulled the girl in front of him into his arms. His palms stroked her hair, and his eyes were full of love and tenderness. At this time, Little Xingxing's body was covered in scarlet blood. Her appearance was extremely miserable, and her aura was somewhat weak. The dragon god placed one hand on her back and continuously channeled energy to help her heal her injuries. Father, I finally see you. I missed you so much. Little Xingxing was sobbing as he spoke, expressing his longing for his father. For thousands of years, she had seen the illusions that her father had left behind in various places more than once, but she had never seen them in person. Now that she was able to see him, all of her longing turned into endless emotions. She couldn't control her emotions at all, and a young girl cried like a child. It's father's fault. Father didn't take care of you for so many years. Xiaolong could not help but wipe away his tears. His emotional appearance no longer had the peerless demeanor he had when he fought against the 3 great demon generals. In front of Little Xingxing, he was a father who had failed to fulfill his responsibilities. His heart was filled with boundless guilt and heartache. Little Xingxing didn't speak anymore, only whimpering softly. Father, where is my mother? Not long after, Little Xingxing left the dragon god's arms, raised his big eyes, and asked eagerly, Your mother and the others should have also arrived at the 33 heavens. Soon, our family will be reunited. The corners of Xiaolong's mouth curled into a smile as he quietly looked at Little Xingxing and said. He lovingly stroked Little Xingxing's hair and spoke softly. Father, the demon race is here. Let's go. At this moment, Long Ke and Long Su stepped forward and said to the dragon god. Xiaolong stood where he was without moving, but the power of his soul had already spread out, sensing everything behind him. At this moment, the Blood God Demon General, the Desolation Demon General, the Ming Luo Demon General, the Scarlet Flame Demon General, and the two demon attendants, Dongli Chihuang and Chan Yin, led several hundred meditative realm experts of the demon race to the front. Dibatian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, and Dong Huang Taixian had already charged forward. The four of them used their full strength to stop the seven demon generals. At the same time, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and a few other meditative realm experts used the 8 trigrams technique to fend off the 7 demon generals' attacks with great difficulty. Right now, they were trying to buy time for Xiaolong and little Xingxing so that the father and daughter could reunite. Let's go. There are some things we can talk about in the future. The most important thing right now is to leave the 18 layers of hell. Xiaolong smiled as he looked at little Xingxing. His eyes were filled with gentleness. However, the moment Xiaolong turned around, the gentleness disappeared and was replaced by a boundless coldness. He handed little Xingxing to Long Ke and Long Su, and asked them to lead Chu Daoju, Ling Feng, Long San, and the other immortal experts to retreat to the 15th layer of hell. Xiaolong, on the other hand, turned around and rushed into the crowd of the 7 demon generals. A fierce battle began once again. This time, Xiaolong's strength was even more terrifying than before. Under his all-out attack, the 7 demon generals were thrown into disarray. "Continue to retreat," Xiaolong called out, and he immediately took Du Xiaofu and the others away. The same thing happened again. Xiaolong attacked again, and all the attacks from the 7 demon generals were destroyed. At the same time, he retreated with Dibatian and the others. In addition, when they encountered the millions of immortal experts from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds, they immediately used some means to keep them in their independent spaces. As a result, only Long Xian, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and a few other experts remained in the outside world, enduring the frenzied pursuit of the 7 demon generals. The rest of the experts in the Forgotten Realm and the Immortal Realm hid in their independent spaces to reduce their losses. Behind them, Dongli Chihuang, Chen Yin, and the other immortal and immortal experts were quickly shaken off. They could not keep up with the speed of the half-step immortal experts. They really escaped. With Long Xian here, we can't chase after them, Blood God Demon General said in a deep voice as he looked at Long Xian coldly. Long Xian's strength was too strong. Even with the strength of the 7 demon generals, they could not stop the people in front of them even if they tried their best. If this continued, these people would really follow the path they came from and pass through more than a dozen layers of hell to return to the 33 heavens. Just chase after them. Since the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds have the guts to break into our demon world, they are already prepared to die here. Although we can't kill them, we are absolutely not afraid. At this time, Milord has already entered the 18th layer of hell. There are still a large number of demon experts there who will soon appear. Tell the 2 demon attendants to gather their forces and kill their way into the 33 heavens. This time, the demon race will officially declare war on them. On the side, Ming Luo Demon General spoke in a sinister tone. His entire body surged with killing intent as he stared at the backs of Du Xiaofu and the others in front of him. Boundless hostility burst forth from him. When the other demon generals heard these words, they all fell into a short silence. However, it didn't take too long before everyone gently nodded their heads. Just as Ming Luo Demon General said, the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds had already killed their way to the 16th layer of hell. This was a great challenge to the demon race. If these people were allowed to leave calmly, how could the demon race show its ferocious might? Instead of starting a new round of war in another day, it was better to gather all the demon forces now and launch an all-out attack on the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds. Even if they couldn't keep them in the 18th layer of hell, they could still directly kill their way into the 33 heavens and declare war on the outside world. I think this is feasible. Lord Demon Ancestor is about to recover and will be able to help us soon. At that time, no matter how strong the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds are, they will absolutely not be able to resist the attack of our demon race. The desolate fiend demon general softly said. The demon ancestor was in the midst of recovery. Once he reached his peak, he could directly kill his way into the 33 heavens. At that time, even the 3,000 boundless worlds and Lu Xiaoyu would not be able to stop him. It's settled then. The 7 of us will take the lead. Let's go. Fierce locust demon general shouted. Then, he flapped his wings and rushed out, chasing after Xiaolong and the others. Behind them, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin had also received instructions from the 7 demon generals. They immediately sent people into the 18th layer of hell to gather the demon experts there. In such a scene, Xiaolong, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Di Batian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others were chased by the 7 devil generals. They didn't stop and went straight to the outside world. They just wanted to leave the 18th layer of hell as soon as possible. During this time, Du Xiaofu had even more doubts in his heart. Brother Xiaolong, this trip to the 18th layer of hell shouldn't end so simply, right? He raised his head, looked at little Xingxing's father, and voiced his thoughts. At this time, the dragon god didn't seem to be in a hurry. For him, under the premise that he was determined to leave, even if he brought such a large group of people, the 7 demon generals behind him wouldn't be able to pose any threat to him. Therefore, at this time, he seemed to be taking a stroll in the park. However, when Du Xiaofu asked such a question, Xiaolong frowned slightly. Then, he suddenly sighed slightly and said with some emotion, "So you also thought of this? Is there a change in father's arrangements?" Lu Jingyun raised his eyebrows and asked when he saw Xiaolong's expression. His uncle had appeared in the 18th layer of hell, but his father, Lu Xiaoyu, hadn't shown up. This didn't make sense. The millions of people from the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds had fought their way to the 16th layer of hell with great difficulty. If they didn't do anything, their actions would be too suspicious. Therefore, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others had already guessed that there must be some changes in Lu Xiaoyu's arrangements. It was precisely because of this that they were ready to evacuate before Xiaolong arrived. You guessed right, there are indeed some changes. Xiaolong frowned slightly, then looked at Lu Jingyun and said aloud, "Your father and I went to a place, but he comprehended something there and went into seclusion. So I'm afraid he won't be able to rush back to the 33 heavens for a while. Because of this, I was afraid that things in the 18th layer of hell would be out of control, so I had to rush back alone in advance. Fortunately, I rushed back, otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." As Xiaolong spoke, he faintly sighed with emotion. He had rushed back from that special area just in time. When he arrived at the 16th layer of hell, Du Xiaofu and the others were in a dangerous state. If he had been a little late, there would have been unacceptable consequences. Father comprehended something? Could it be that he wants to break through that realm? Xiaolong's words stunned Lu Jingyun, Du Xiaofu, and the others. Everyone knew that Lu Xiaoyu was currently at the peak of the Dao-bearing realm and was only one step away from the last of the 9 realms, the imageless realm. However, it was this one step that had trapped him for countless years without being able to enter the door. And now, listening to Xiaolong, it seemed that they had gone to a special place together, and in that place, Lu Xiaoyu actually had a new understanding. According to this, he was now at the most critical moment. Once he succeeded, he would be able to enter the imageless realm and be as powerful as the ancient god fiends. Thinking of this, Du Xiaofu and the others felt a little difficult to breathe. Seeing everyone's shocked expression, Xiaolong frowned and nodded gently, then said, "I don't know if boss can successfully break through, and I don't know how long this seclusion will take. The devil race is about to recover, and we don't seem to be able to afford it." There was a dignified look in his eyes. The devil race was like a mountain that pressed down on the heads of all living creatures, making it difficult for them to breathe. If there was no boss Lu Xiaoyu, who else in this world could lead the 3,000 boundless worlds and 33 heavens to fight against the devil race? This is indeed a little difficult to handle. Du Xiaofu lowered his head slightly and murmured. Senior brother Lu Xiaoyu had been planning everything since many years ago to fight against the devil race. The plan to deal with the devil ancestor was all under his control, but at this time, such a situation had occurred, which made people happy and worried. Uncle Xiaolong, Did Father have other plans for us to enter the 18 levels of hell? Lu Jingyun asked Xiaolong again. Yes, there are plans. Xiaolong nodded, and at this time, he no longer hid anything. He said, Boss originally planned to appear at the most intense moment of the battle and really start the final battle with the Devil Ancestor. After all, at this time, the Devil Ancestor has already entered the 18 levels of hell. If we don't do anything to stop him and let him fully recover, it will be very troublesome. Du Xiaofu and the others nodded, expressing their understanding. However, it was only now that they knew that Lu Xiaoyu had already planned to have the final battle with the Devil Ancestor, and everything was under his control. In addition, in the 18 levels of hell, there are still some things that you don't know about. Suddenly, Xiaolong changed the topic and said, Things that we don't know about? What things? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and asked immediately. The others were also curious, and all of them looked at Xiaolong, wanting to hear his answer. Perhaps you already know that the 18 levels of hell is a terrifying formation, which was set up by the great god Pangu in ancient times. It is also because of this formation that it is able to suppress the Devil Ancestor's primordial spirit, which is divided into 18 levels, so that he can't escape. Today, the formation's energy has been mostly used up, and it can no longer trap the Devil Ancestor. Because of this, many years ago, a strand of his primordial spirit escaped from the first level of hell. In the end, under the pursuit of me and Boss, he escaped into Shun Wu world. Hearing this, everyone nodded. They all had some understanding of this situation. As for the strand of Devil Ancestor's primordial spirit that escaped from the first level of hell, it was the demon god that caused the catastrophe in Shen Wu world. Seeing that everyone understood, Xiaolong continued, because Boss's plan wasn't perfect, he didn't kill his way into the 18 levels of hell to fight the Devil Ancestor. Because if he did that, the battle between the two of them would definitely destroy all the remnants of the formation. However, not long ago, everything finally stabilized. Outside of the 18 levels of hell, a brand new formation was set up, enough to resist the impact of the battle. However, there is one key point. As Xiaolong spoke, he stretched out a finger and said, In the ancient times, the great god Pangu set up such a terrifying formation to suppress the Devil Ancestor's primordial spirit. At the same time, he also sealed all the devil race. It can be said that his strength was divine, and he was unparalleled. But if we really want to talk about all of this, it's not the work of Pangu alone. After Xiaolong finished speaking, he paused for a moment. As for Du Xiaofu and the others, their interest was once again piqued. They all looked at Xiaolong eagerly, wanting to hear him continue. Today, everyone knew that the 18 levels of hell were set up by the great god Pangu to trap the Devil Ancestor and the Devil Race. However, listening to Xiaolong's words, it seemed that there were others who helped. In the ancient times, many powerhouses of the Great Path emerged in the Pangu realm. When the heavens and earth were first created, those people observed the evolution of the Great Path and were able to reach the pinnacle of cultivation. It was very terrifying. Xiaolong breathed a sigh of relief and continued. However, after the ancient war, it seems that all the powerhouses of the Great Path disappeared. No ancestor of any force remained in the world. The only trace that can be found in the 33 heavens is the burial mountain where Yuan Feng and the Blood Ancestor had their final battle. It is located in the eternal heaven. Do you know why? As Xiaolong spoke, his gaze swept across the faces of Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others. Before they could answer or shake their heads, he continued, because the 18 levels of hell were built by the 18 powerhouses of the Great Path and the great god Pangu. Chapter 2942. 18 Dao Carrier Realm Experts? Xiaolong's words caused everyone present to be fiercely shocked for a moment. It was only now that they realized that the 18 layers of hell were composed not only by Pangu's supreme divine power, but also by the contributions of 18 Dao Carrier Realm Experts. While everyone was stunned, they continued to look at Xiaolong, quietly waiting for his next words. That's right, 18 Dao Carrier Realm Experts. Xiaolong nodded and said, the ancient devil race was prosperous and had many experts. Without the help of the 18 Tao carriers, I'm afraid that Pangu alone wouldn't be able to suppress all the ancient devil race here. Without the 18 Tao carrier realm experts as the foundation of the formation, the demon race might have broken it before it could truly take shape. After this explanation, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others finally came to an understanding. It turned out that the 18 ancient experts were the foundation of the formation, and they respectively suppressed every single level of the 18 levels of hell. They could be considered to have formed a part of the enormous formation. Everyone thought about it and could understand. With the strength of the devil race, it was absolutely impossible for them to stay obediently in the 18 levels of hell and wait for the great god Pangu's formation to suppress them. They would definitely put up a terrifying resistance. One had to know that in the demon world, there were 18 primordial spirits of the demon ancestor and many demon generals, all of whom were terrifying existences. Once these people joined forces and launched an attack, even Pangu, who had been injured in the battle, would have a hard time suppressing them all by himself. With the 18 Tao carrier realm experts as the foundation of the formation, guarding each layer of the 18 layers of hell, there would be a complete guarantee of success. It's no wonder that not a single Tao carrier realm expert has appeared in the 33 heavens. The only trace that appeared was the burial space mountain where Yuan Feng suppressed the blood ancestors' remains in the Yinxiong uncorroded heaven. It turns out that almost all the supreme experts that appeared at the beginning of the world were buried here. Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others sighed with emotion. Everyone felt pity. Countless living beings had fallen in the ancient war, and even the strongest Tao carrier realm experts couldn't escape such a fate. Even if they didn't die at the hands of the demon race, they still paid the price with their lives. Fortunately, with the efforts of Pangu world's living beings, the demon race was finally suppressed and sealed in the 18 layers of hell for eons. According to Boss's plan, a huge formation outside the 18 layers of hell, so we won't have to worry about the demon race invading the 33 heavens. Because of this formation, the demons could only be confined to the 18 levels of hell. This place would be the final battlefield. Therefore, no matter how terrifying the demon-dragon realm, it won't have a huge impact on the 33 heavens. Xiaolong said. He pondered for a moment, then continued, using this opportunity, we have a chance to destroy the formation of the 18 levels of hell and rescue the 18 Tao carriers who are the foundation of the formation. When Xiaolong said this, everyone couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. Rescue them? Don't tell me those Tao carrier realm experts are still alive? Such a question blurted out from Du Xiaofu's mouth. He turned to look at the dragon god beside him with a look of extreme shock. Lu Jingyun's expression was similar to everyone else's, and they were all very surprised. The 18 Tao carrier realm experts of ancient times had helped Pangu lay down the powerful seal of the 18 layers of hell, and they had definitely consumed an unimaginable amount of energy. Countless years had passed, so could it be that those experts were still alive? If this was the case, then it was really something worth looking forward to. But to everyone's surprise, Xiaolong didn't confirm their guess, and only said 3 words, I don't know. But soon, he seemed to feel that this answer was a little inappropriate and continued. In fact, you should be able to sense that there are some strange life forces in many places of the 18 layers of hell. And these life forces are emitted by the 18 Tao carrier realm experts of ancient times. When Xiaolong said this, Du Xiaofu and the others immediately recalled that they were able to sense the existence of some formidable life form in the shadows in many levels of the 18 levels of hell. Every breath they took was like a heavy hammer striking their chests, causing them to feel extremely pressured. At the beginning, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, and the others all speculated that these life forces were most likely demon experts, which made them extremely cautious. But as they went deeper and deeper, they also discovered that the life forces in the dark didn't seem to show any signs of awakening, so they didn't pay too much attention to them. At this time, through Xiaolong's explanation, they finally understood that these life forces were emitted by the ancient Tao carrier realm experts of Pangu world. These people were the ones who helped Pangu seal the 18 layers of hell. Since they are still emitting life forces, doesn't that mean those Tao carrier realm experts are still alive? Du Xiaofu's heart beat faster. They had sensed such life forces in the 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 13th, and many other layers of hell. If this was the case, there were at least a few Tao Carrier Realm experts who were still alive. Once they were rescued, given enough time, they would be able to return to their peak state and increase the fighting strength of the 33 heavens. The life forces emitted by these life forces don't necessarily mean that those experts are still alive. Tao Carrier Realm experts have already walked their own Tao and have an aura completely different from that of heaven and earth. Back then, the 18 Tao Carrier Realm experts worked together to seal the 18 layers of hell. Even if they are dead now, the energy they left behind is still playing a big role. Therefore, without breaking the seal, I can't be sure whether they are still alive or not, unless Boss comes here personally. Xiaolong sighed softly and said to everyone, even with his strength, it was difficult to pry into the specific state of the 18 Tao Carrier Realm experts who formed the foundation of the 18 layers of Hell's seal. According to his and Lu Xiaoyou's original plan, they would have fought a decisive battle against the demon race and the demon ancestor, then broken the seal of the 18 layers of Hell. Only then would they be able to truly determine the outcome. But now, Boss was in seclusion in the strange place outside the world, so all of their arrangements could only be temporarily put on hold. They needed to plan for the long term, so that's how it is. Du Xiaofu and the others nodded, but at the same time, they felt even more helpless in their hearts. If the 18 Tao Carrier Realm experts had survived from ancient times until now and participated in the battle against the demon race in their peak state, it would have been wonderful. Under such circumstances, even if Jiang Qin recovered, the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes would still have the strength to contend. Coupled with the countless years of planning, it wouldn't be difficult to completely suppress the demon race. But obviously, this was just a beautiful dream. It wasn't realistic at all. We don't know how long it'll take for Boss to return, so we can't proceed according to plan. Without him, no one in the 33 heavens or the 3,000 universes can barely suppress the demon ancestor. If we continue to fight recklessly, we'll only end up defeated. Xiaolong thought for a moment and said this. He and Boss couldn't continue with their plan. Their goal in entering the 18 layers of hell was to take away the several million experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes and preserve their fighting strength. This process obviously wasn't too difficult, but Xiaolong's brows still showed a trace of melancholy. Father is breaking through to the imageless realm, and the demon ancestor is rapidly recovering. Looks like it's a race of time now. Whoever takes that crucial step first will have the upper hand. Lu Jingyun thought for a moment and sighed. The demon ancestor was in the midst of recovery, and at this time, his father, Lu Xiaoyu, had obtained an opportunity and gained new enlightenment. The war between the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes and the demon race was on the verge of breaking out. It could be fully launched at any time. The key to this was to see who would take that crucial step first, Lu Jingyun's father or the demon ancestor. This step was likely to determine the final victory, so it made people nervous. That's what I'm worried about. I only hope that Boss won't take too long. Now, Senior Spirit Creation has left the 3,000 universes for many years and can't be found. If Boss doesn't come back, we really can't compete with the demon race. Xiaolong furrowed his brows with deep worry. If Lu Xiaoyu didn't return to the 33 heavens and enter the 18 layers of hell, they couldn't even save the 18 ancient experts, let alone fight with the demon race. Once the demon ancestor recovered his strength, all living things would face a disaster. This was what Xiaolong was most worried about. The founder of the 3,000 universes was difficult to find. In the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes, there was no one who could compete with the demon ancestor. Du Xiaofu's heart sank. He naturally understood the key to this and couldn't help worrying. Uncle Xiaolong, don't worry. I believe that father will return soon. Looking at the solemn faces of the people around him, Lu Jingyun spoke at the right time. That's right. Although Xiaoyu is quite troublesome, he has never dropped the ball for so many years. When Di Batian heard Lu Jingyun's words, he smiled and said, don't worry. Such words made Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, and the others relax a lot. This was especially true for Yang Guo, Lu Xintong, and Xiaolong. When they were still weak, they had followed Lu Xiaoyu. That guy was indeed a troublemaker, But just as Dibatian had said, he had never made any mistakes. Chapter 29:43. Uncle and Dad are really alike. Both of them always appear at the most crucial moment. How worrying. Suddenly, beside Xiaolong, little Xingxing muttered softly. As he spoke, his bright eyes stared at Du Xiaofu. In an instant, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yangguo, Lu Xintong, Lu Jingyun, Xiaolong, and the others all looked at Du Xiaofu with smiles on their faces. Du Xiaofu rubbed his nose. The atmosphere was a little awkward. He rolled his eyes at little Xingxing. Why was he suddenly dragged into this? Du Xiaofu clenched his fist. If it wasn't for little Xingxing's father, the dragon god, who was present, he would have gone up and knocked little Xingxing on the head. But in the end, he loosened his grip and suppressed his impulse. Let's go. We have to leave the 18 levels of hell as soon as possible and return to the divine devil battlefield, Xiaolong said to the people around him. After that, Du Xiaofu, little Xingxing, and the others all entered Lu Jingyun's independent space. Only Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yangguo, Lu Xintong, and Xiaolong were left outside. At this moment, the 7 demon generals were still unwilling to let them go. They followed closely behind them and began a terrifying pursuit. Comparatively speaking, the demon generals in the meditative realm had been left far behind. They couldn't catch up to the speed of these people. As for the millions of soldiers, they couldn't even touch a speck of dust. Even so, Xiaolong and the others didn't seem to have any intention of stopping to fight the 7 demon generals. They were 5 against 7. Xiaolong could fight 3 demon generals alone without being at a disadvantage. However, to Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yangguo, and the others who had been severely injured in the previous battle, even if they were to fight 1 demon general each, they would still be at a disadvantage if the battle dragged on. Under such circumstances, the 7 demon generals pursued relentlessly. All of them exploded with terrifying auras. Xiaolong and the others didn't care. They only wanted to leave the 18 levels of hell. They had no intention of fighting the demon generals to the death. However, the demon generals didn't think so. While the 7 half-step realm experts of the 3,000 universes were chasing the demon generals, Dongli Qihuang, Chen Yin, and the others had passed through the 17 levels of hell and entered the demon generals. The demon generals. Currently, Jiangxin had found his final strand of nascent spirit on this floor and was in the process of fusing with it. However, as soon as the 18th level of hell was broken, all of the devilish beings here naturally regained their freedom. Demon generals in the realm and fiends, the immortal realm, alone, there were more. Under the 2 demon attendants' command, so many demon experts surged out and left the 18th layer of hell. They entered the 16th layer of hell and joined up with the other demon experts. Right after that, 6 to 7 million immortal realm demons left in the direction Du Xiaofu and the others had retreated to, heading out of the 18 layers of hell. The combined auras of so many experts were terrifying. Demonic flames burned fiercely as they charged into the 33 heavens for the final battle. At the same time, a large number of true severing, gods rising, and returning void realm experts received instructions from the 2 demon generals and gathered together. It won't be long before my lord fully recovers his strength. Since the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes have all retreated, we can't let them take a single step into the demon world. The Dongli Scarlet Phoenix's eyes were gloomy as it spoke in an eerie tone. The nearby Chen Yin nodded seriously as well. The 2 demon generals' thoughts were simple. Since Du Xiaofu and the others had left in a hurry and refused to fight them, the demon generals would naturally pursue them until they couldn't advance any further. Countless experts of the demon race were stationed in the 33 heavens. They only had to wait for the demon ancestor to return. Then, they could launch an all-out attack. During this time, their primary mission was to protect the demon race's territory and prevent the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes from setting foot in again. Lu Xiaoyu must have encountered something unexpected. Otherwise, he would have appeared long ago. Chen Yin spoke. This was how it should be. The demon race had guessed a few key points about the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes' hasty retreat. Logically speaking, It wasn't to the extent that Lu Xiaoyu would have made a move when those few million experts arrived at the 16th level of hell. It was exactly because of this that Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin were fully confident that by relying on the experts that the demon race could mobilize, it would be sufficient to force the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes out of the 18 levels of hell and make it impossible for them to act rashly. The 33 heavens, the 3,000 universes. He. Once my lords ferocious might appears once more, both of those worlds will be the territory of our demon race. All the living beings there will become food and slaves for our demon race. No one is an exception, including the Lord of the 3,000 universes, Lu Xiaoyu, and the others. Of course, there's also Du Xiaofu. Dongli Qihuang revealed a gloomy smile once more, and it was extremely ghastly. After that, the two devil attendants didn't say anything else, and they led the experts of the demon race all the way out of the 18 levels of hell at full speed. At this moment, Du Xiaofu, Lu Jingyun, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Chu Daoju, and the others were all in Lu Jingyun's independent space. They didn't carry out any fervent discussions or exchanges because many of them had suffered heavy or light injuries during the crazy battle from before. They relied on the current stable situation to make use of the time they had to cultivate diligently, and they just wanted to recover to their prime as soon as possible. Du Xiaofu didn't pay too much attention to the outside world, and he sat cross-legged on the ground with his eyes slightly closed, just like everyone else. However, some thoughts arose in his heart from time to time. Du Xiaofu knew that the Dragon God intended to lead all the experts to retreat into the Fiend God battlefield where the experts of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes would receive them. Although there weren't any half-step Dao-bearing cultivators, or even Dao-bearing cultivators, there were still quite a few in the meditative and forgetful realms. They were more than enough to deal with the demon's current strength. However, Du Xiaofu was worried that the demons hadn't displayed their full strength yet. If one or two more demon general-level experts showed up, the situation would be dire. Senior Brother actually set up such a terrifying formation that enveloped the entire 18 levels of hell. With the help of Great God Pangu's methods from the primordial era, the demons can only enter, but not leave. In other words, even if the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes can't resist the demons, it's still wishful thinking for them to kill their way into the 33 heavens. Unless... As Du Xiaofu thought this, Jiangxin's figure involuntarily appeared in his mind. As the demon ancestor, once he recovered his full strength, it wouldn't be particularly difficult for him to break through Senior Brother Lu Xiaoyu's methods. The only thing he could hope for now was for Senior Brother Lu Xiaoyu to return sooner than Jiangxin did. That way, fewer people would die in the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universes. However, all of this could only be hoped for. Nobody could predict the final outcome. I'm afraid my current strength is still a ways off from Senior Brother's plan. I don't even know what level of strength I need to reach before I can truly kill Jiangxin. Du Xiaofu calculated in his heart and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He was only at the second level of the Void Dao. His true strength was equivalent to a peak third realm meditative forgetfulness expert. He wasn't much weaker than Lu Jingyun and the others. If he'd been in the 33 heavens in the past, such strength would have allowed him to run amok. No one would have been able to stop him. However, the situation had changed long ago. Not to mention Jiangxin, who'd recovered his strength. Even if Du Xiaofu gathered the strength of hundreds of meditative forgetfulness experts, he still felt powerless against the demons who'd lost their strength. He couldn't help but feel that, in Senior Brother Lu's plan, with his measly cultivation, it wasn't very realistic for him to be the key factor in killing Jiangxin. At the very least, he'd have to break through the third realm of the Void Dao and become a true Dao bearer. Only by possessing the power of Dao bearers and breaking through the shackles placed on his physical body and nascent spirit would he have the qualifications to stand at the peak and look down on the billions of living beings. When that time came, he'd have the strength to fight Jiangxin. Bearer. How can I become a bearer? As Du Xiaofu recovered from his injuries, he frowned slightly. He pondered this question over and over again. Rays of light formed from origin rose from his body, vibrating softly as they repaired the damage on his body. Du Xiaofu was somewhat vexed. He'd been stuck at the second level of the Void Tao for quite some time now, but he'd only made continuous progress. He still had a long way to go before he could truly break through. Everyone in the world knew what the Tao Vessel realm was. It represented walking out of one's own Tao and not being restricted by everything in the heavens and the earth. If it was said that all living beings below the carrier realm relied on the laws, order, principles, and rules of the vast thousand worlds to obtain strength, then the carrier realm was completely independent of the world. They didn't need to rely on the heavens and earth because they themselves were the heavens and the earth. All the power they could control was akin to a world of their own. They had complete control over it. If they wanted it to live, it would live, and if they wanted it to die, it would die. The bearer realm represented supremacy, the power of law, and the ultimate ruler. And going further up was the imageless realm. Senior brother Lu Xiaoyu had once told Du Xiaofu that although the bearer realm and the bearer realm were two different realms, they were actually only one step apart. The biggest difference was whether or not one could create an independent and complete world. When the great Tao they comprehended was broken down, it could produce the evolution of laws, it could promote the growth of living beings, it could bear the weight of boundless space, it could withstand the test of time, and it could create a myriad of living things. It's easy to say, but it's really hard to do. No wonder since the beginning of time, only those primordial sentient life forms in the 33 heavens could peek into the birth of the world's laws and reach the bearer realm. In the 3,000 universes, only senior brother Lu Xiaoyu was able to do it. Even seniors Di Batian and Donghuang Taixian, who controlled the two strongest worlds, couldn't do it. Du Xiaofu sighed again, secretly feeling the difficulty of reaching the bearer realm. The number of bearer realm experts born in the 33 heavens in the 3,000 universes was extremely limited. According to Di Batian, due to some special reasons, the 3,000 worlds didn't produce a Tao carrier like Pango world did in the ancient times. Only after many years did a heaven-defying figure like Lu Xiaoyu appear. He stood alone at the peak of the world and was admired by the world. He was unreachable. I've mastered the 4 primordial laws and stepped into the Void Tao. The Void Tao is a microscopic manifestation of the bearer realm. Theoretically speaking, as long as I continue to cultivate, I'll break through to the bearer realm one day. There's no need for too much comprehension. At that time, the Tao I'll walk will probably be the same as exalted celestial or Pangu. Du Xiaofu thought in his heart. He'd already seen through these problems. However, he was also very clear that if he wanted to cultivate step by step, he didn't know how many tens of thousands of years it would take him to reach that step. Not to mention whether this theory could stand up to scrutiny, just the fact that the powerful demon race was coming like Mount Tai. If they waited for tens of thousands of years, it would be too late. Perhaps the world would have already been reduced to a demon domain. Whether it's the Tao of exalted celestial or Pangu, I don't want to walk on it. I want to comprehend my own Tao. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's heart was filled with a strong will. He didn't want to walk down the path of others step by step. The 4 primal laws came from the 33 heavens, from great God Pangu. If he followed the path of others, who knew how much effort and time he would have to spend? Du Xiaofu suddenly felt that perhaps he should have an absolute will, the ability to break through all obstacles and open up a path that belonged to him. Later, I'll have to ask Brother Xiaolong and a few other seniors about what the bearer realm is all about. Perhaps their comprehension will be able to provide me with some help. Du Xiaofu thought inwardly. He felt that he needed to have a good chat with the several half-step bearer realm experts outside, especially Yang Guo and Lu Xintong. As Hotian life forms, they had actually taken that crucial step and began to comprehend their own Tao. This was extremely shocking. The things they comprehended would be a rare reference for him and would be greatly beneficial for him to break through to the bearer realm in the future. And if senior brother Lu Xiaoyu could return in time, he would be able to learn a thing or two from him. Thinking of this, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but feel a little impatient. However, this impatient thought was quickly suppressed by him, and he calmed down once again. Let's recover our strength first. Who knows, we might have to face a great battle later. Du Xiaofu stopped thinking about it and let out a sigh of relief. The 7 great demon generals were still chasing after them. Perhaps the demon race didn't intend to let them go so easily. If something went wrong, Even if they retreated to the Fiend God battle realm, they would still have to face a bloody battle. The most important thing now was to recover their strength and deal with any unforeseen events that might occur at any time. This independent space was very calm. All the living beings here were constantly recovering their strength and healing their injuries. But outside this space, it was a completely different situation. For Xiaolong, Dibatian, and Yanghua, their speed was extremely fast. Nothing could stop them along the way, so it didn't take long for them to pass through several levels of hell. They were many times faster than when Du Xiaofu and the others entered. But behind them, the 7 great demon generals were relentlessly chasing after them. They continuously attacked with terrifying attacks in an attempt to obstruct them to a certain extent. However, these attacks were all under the control of Xiaolong and the others, and didn't achieve the results that the 7 great demon generals wanted. The shadows of axes, the streaks of blood-red sword lights, and the waves of demonic qi were all defeated. In a situation where Xiaolong and the others were determined to leave, the 7 great demon generals couldn't do anything to stop them. But what made them frown was that the 7 great demon generals didn't have any intention of stopping. They chased after them all the way and didn't relax at all. I'm afraid the demon race won't stop so easily. From the looks of it, could it be that they want to chase us all the way to the Fiend God battle realm? Dibatian said with a frown as they ran at full speed. The 7 great demon generals gave them a lot of pressure. Only Xiaolong wasn't afraid of them. The others were more or less injured and couldn't fight head-on. I'm afraid that's really the case. I can sense a terrifying demonic qi surging. It seems that the other experts of the demon race are also chasing after us. Maybe they're really planning to have a final battle with the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds, Xiaolong said with a frown. He released the power of his primordial spirit and could vaguely sense the movements of the demon race's seated forgetfulness and immortal realm experts in the depths of the 18 levels of hell. It was worrying. The demon race might have noticed that something is wrong with us. They're trying to take advantage of the situation. Donghuang Taixian also felt that the situation was a little bad. Now that Lu Xiaoyu wasn't here, it wasn't a good thing to have a decisive battle ahead of time. Let's go first. We'll talk about it after we return to the Fiend God battle realm. If the demon race wants to chase after us, let them catch up. We're not afraid of a real battle, Xiaolong said in a deep voice with a frown. He shook his body and released an even more vigorous energy. His speed increased by a few notches. Behind him, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong quickly followed. Behind them, the 5 great demon generals gave chase fiercely. Their speed was also extremely fast. Chapter 29:44. The chase continued for a long time in the 18 layers of hell. The 7 demon generals had no intention of letting Xiaolong, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others leave. Moreover, a long time ago, the 7 demon generals had passed down orders for the 2 demon attendants, Dongli Qihuang and Chen Yin, to gather even more powerhouses of the demon race and directly attack the 33 heavens. Their goal was simple. They wanted to block the 33 heavens and the 3,000 great worlds outside the 18 levels of hell. They wanted to wait for the demon lord to recover to his peak state. Then, they could lead the army to attack the 33 heavens and take down the 3,000 great worlds. During this time, they would not allow anyone from the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless worlds to take a step into the demon world. With this thought in mind, the 7 demon generals pursued Xiaolong and the others in full force. The 12 of them, 5 at the front and 7 at the back, continued to move forward, passing through layer after layer of hell. It didn't take long for them to return to the first layer of hell. If they continued to go out, they would have to pass through the boundless barren star field and enter the Fiend God battlefield. The demon race really doesn't plan on letting go. Xiaolong turned around and said with a frown. This was one of the results he was most worried about. Without his boss, it wasn't suitable for them to fight the demon race. If they really fought, the 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless worlds together wouldn't have any advantage. Moreover, they didn't know how much hidden strength the demon race had not revealed. Let's retreat first. I have a feeling that the demon race won't start the final battle so easily. They probably want to block us outside the 18 layers of hell and wait for the demon ancestor to recover before attacking. Debatian speculated after thinking about it. Hearing this, the others nodded in agreement. Perhaps the demon race experts had the same idea as them. They were all waiting. The 33 heavens and 3,000 boundless worlds were waiting for Lu Xiaoyu to return, while the demon race was waiting for the demon ancestor to recover. In the end, which side the situation would favor would depend on Lu Xiaoyu or the demon ancestor, who would take the crucial step first. Let's go. No matter what the demons plan to do, we must enter the fiend god battle realm first. If they want to fight, the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds will definitely not back down. Xiaolong's entire body surged with a ferocious aura. His entire being looked like an unsheathed sharp sword, revealing its sharpness. Without further ado, they charged out of the first level of hell and arrived in the boundless starry sky. In the surroundings, withered stars revolved one after another, drawing strange trajectories that were inexplicably mysterious. Somewhere in the starry sky, a massive ball of light flashed, releasing a vast amount of energy. Even from an endless distance away, it was difficult to ignore its existence. After listening to Xiaolong's explanation, Debatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, and Lu Xintong understood that the terrifying light was the chaos origin left behind by the great god Pangu. It contained unparalleled power. It was because of the vast energy provided by the chaos origin that the laws of the starry sky, which had been changed by Lu Xiaoyu, could continue to operate without stopping. Imperceptibly, the few of them could feel strands of mysterious energy moving rapidly, forming a terrifying restriction outside the 18 levels of hell. It contained a powerful pressure that made one's heart palpitate. Behind them, the 7 demon generals quickly charged out. When they entered the boundless starry sky, the 7 of them trembled, as if they had sensed something terrifying. The corners of Xiaolong's mouth involuntarily lifted into a smile when they saw this scene. They were clearly aware that the frightening formation that Lu Xiaoyu had set up had been sensed by the 7 great demon generals. They had sensed an extremely dangerous aura, which was why they had such a reaction. Let's enter the fiend god battle realm. I wonder if the 7 demon generals have the guts to follow us. Xiaolong said softly to the few people around him. Then, he disappeared from where he was and did not appear again. After leaving the 18 levels of hell, the sealing power in the entire space weakened a lot. For Pathfinder realm experts, as long as the power of the primordial spirit could reach a place, they could reach it in an instant. There was no need for them to travel through the 18 levels of hell and waste a lot of time. Let's go. Debatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yang Guo, and Lu Xintong's figures flickered and disappeared from where they were. The 7 demon generals did not continue to give chase as they watched the 5 of them leave. Instead, they turned their attention to the huge cluster of primal chaos origin source in the starry sky. Everyone's eyes revealed a greedy expression. I didn't expect Pangu to leave behind such a huge chaos origin. If we can obtain it, it will be easy for us demon generals to return to our peak. Among the crowd, the blood god demon general said. His crimson eyes were filled with unconcealable greed. The 7 great demon generals had only managed to break free after countless years due to Pangu's powerful seal. Their strength had been greatly reduced, and they did not even have a small portion of their peak strength left. If they did not have a huge opportunity, it would take a lot of time for them to return to their peak. Now that the war between the demon race and the 33 heavens was imminent, they did not have that many years to wait for them to recover. But today, they saw the chaos origin left behind by Pangu. The 7 of them could not help but be overjoyed. As long as they could obtain the primal chaos source and refine it, it would be extremely easy for them to fully recover. If we obtain the chaos origin and return to our peak strength, even if the demon ancestor does not appear, we will be able to easily wipe out the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universal worlds. These 2 worlds are no longer the same as they were in the past. Without the obstruction of sentient life forms, they are no different from chickens and dogs. A fierce glint rose in the eyes of the desolate demon general by the side as he spoke in a deep voice. He could not help but look forward to it, as if he was imagining the state after refining the chaos origin. It was indeed as he said. During the ancient war, the demon generals had received special attention. 18 Tao-carrying powerhouses had joined forces to set up a terrifying formation. With their bodies as the foundation, they had not only suppressed the 18 demon ancestors' primordial spirits, but also sealed them together. Under such circumstances, their strength had been greatly reduced. But if the demon generals recovered their peak strength and had the cultivation of Tao-carrying powerhouses at their peak, it would be no different from destroying the 33 heavens and the 3,000 universal worlds. Among the beings of the two worlds, Lu Xiaoyu was the only Tao-carrying powerhouse. Such a great disparity in strength was enough for the demon race to sweep through the two worlds and enslave all beings. The only thing they needed to worry about was the person who had yet to appear. That person was the creator of the 3,000 universal worlds. The 7 demon generals knew that person must be one of the ancient fiend gods, but he had not participated in the Great War. They did not know where he was now, or why he had yet to appear. Is this a new formation? It actually uses the chaos origin as the source of energy. This method is really extraordinary. Ming Luo demon general observed for a while, and came to such a conclusion. It was not difficult for them to discover the current state of the starry sky. According to their speculation, perhaps only the legendary master of the 3,000 universal worlds, Lu Xiaoyu, could have such means. Through this formation, the 7 demon generals could also judge that Lu Xiaoyu's strength must be very strong. He was above the demon generals at their peak and could not be underestimated. It won't be easy to break this formation. The chaos origin is right in front of us, but I'm afraid it will be a little hot and difficult to get. The fierce locust devil general leisurely said, whether it's difficult or not, we have to try first. With the strength of the 7 of us, there is a chance to break Lu Xiaoyu's formation. Demon General Duo Yu's gloomy voice sounded as he spoke to the other 6 demon generals. That's right. Let's try. As long as we can get the chaos origin, we will be able to recover quickly. For this, even if the price is a little high, it will be worth it. Red Flame Demon General's words were deep as he spoke. The 7 demon generals all agreed with his words. Then, Blood God Demon General flew out. A fierce aura constantly rose from his body and quickly condensed into a huge blood-colored light sword, which was raised in the void. At the same time, a deep roar came from Blood God Demon General's mouth. He said, "Then let me test how strong this formation is." Just as he finished speaking, the terrifying light sword moved. It was like a pillar that supported the heavens and collapsed, as if it could stir up a great world. It was boundlessly terrifying. The light sword slashed down, causing the void to tremble and the heavens to tremble. The endless stars in the surroundings seemed to tremble under this powerful force, faintly swaying. Rumble, following Blood God Demon General's movements, the light sword finally slashed down brazenly, slashing into the boundless void. However, just as the light sword ferociously attacked for a distance, a resplendent 5-colored glow suddenly appeared in the void space. It was like the scorching rays of the scorching sun, causing the 7 demon generals to unconsciously squint their eyes. The multicolored light flashed, then dimmed a little, revealing its clearest form. In the eyes of the 7 demon generals, strange patterns intertwined in the surrounding starry sky, like a messy net covering it. It was incomparably complicated, and there was no clue to be found. Chi-Chi, when Blood God Demon General's light sword slashed into the light net, it was immediately absorbed. However, the light net only shook a little naturally, but it did not cause much of a commotion before disappearing. What a powerful technique! It's unbelievable. Lu Xiaoyu is very strong. I'm afraid he's even more terrifying than we imagined. The scene that they saw caused the 7 demon generals to be a little startled. They knew Blood God Demon General's strength. Although he was not at the peak, he was definitely terrifying. However, his all-out attack had almost no effect at all. This was simply unbelievable. Let's attack together. I don't believe that Lu Xiaoyu can really reach the sky. After all, he's not Pangu, and he's not here to preside over the battle array. I'd like to see how this battle array can withstand the combined attack of the 7 of us. Ming Luo Demon General's voice was gloomy and extremely cold as he spoke. The remaining 6 nodded at the same time. Then, the 7 demon generals gathered their terrifying strength again. Each of them condensed almost all of their strength, turning it into the most terrifying attack. Axe shadows, saber lights, and sword lights formed, buzzing and trembling in the void. Each attack seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Rumble. The entire star field seemed to be boiling, and there was an earth-shaking explosion. Chi-chi-chi. The attacks finally landed. Every single one of them was extremely domineering and terrifying. At this time, the 7 demon generals temporarily stopped thinking about how to chase after Xiaolong, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong. They also stopped thinking about the final battle between the demon race, the 33 heavens, and the 3,000 boundless worlds. All they wanted to do was to obtain the primal chaos source and use it to recover their strength. As long as they could achieve this result, the heavy responsibility of conquering the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds could be accomplished without the demon ancestors' help. Boom, 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 boom. The attacks of the 7 demon generals finally landed and bombarded the colorful light net. The 7 of them attacked with their full strength, and they did not intend to hold back. If they were in a world, such a terrifying attack would be enough to shake the entire world. Countless living beings would feel as if they were facing the end of the world, and they would die in fear. However, after such a terrifying attack landed, a scene that caused the 7 demon generals to feel disbelief appeared. The layers of intertwined light net trembled violently, and the huge stars around it also shook violently. However, this trembling and shaking did not last for too long. After the 7 of them lost their strength, everything returned to its original state, as if nothing had changed. The layers of light net were still shrouding, releasing bright light. The huge stars were also moving, drawing mysterious trajectories. The huge chaos origin in the distance was still as stable as Mount Tai, not moving at all. Nothing was shaken by the attacks of the 7 demon generals. The light net and the stars were orderly in the chaos, each doing their job, and maintained their original state, suppressing the 18 levels of hell. How can this be? The 7 demon generals frowned, and they were helpless. They were indeed helpless. Even with their full strength, there was no effect, and this made the 7 demon generals feel a little hurt. Lu Xiaoyou's method was actually so powerful. However, it was understandable. The 7 of them were far from their peak, and Lu Xiaoyou's formation was arranged with Pangu's power, so it was naturally extraordinary. Therefore, after thinking for a while, they felt that this result was acceptable. Since it's a formation, it can't be natural. Lu Xiaoyou is not Pangu, so there must be a flaw. We don't believe that the 7 of us can't break it. The red-flamed demon general's voice became even more vicious, and his eyes became even more ruthless. He was unwilling to give up, and he planned to try again. Find the weak point of this formation, and gather the strength of the 7 of us to break it. The other 6 demon generals spoke again. At the same time, they gathered together and gathered an even more vigorous power, preparing for a new round of attacks. A gigantic ball of primal chaos source stood in the distance, releasing a mesmerizing radiance. However, under the obstruction of the boundless array, they could only watch helplessly. This made the 7 demon generals very unwilling to give up. They kept searching, wanting to break the formation and obtain the chaos origin. At this time, Xiaolong, Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, and Lu Xintong had already returned to the divine demon battlefield. Many experts who were in the independent space also came out, but most of them stayed in it. That kind of space was a treasure that only terrifying experts could refine. For example, Lu Jingyun's space had the effect of accelerating time. If one cultivated in it, they could save a lot of time. However, to some experts, what they lacked wasn't time, but comprehension. At this time, Xiaolong and the others also spied on what was happening in the boundless starry sky. The 7 demon generals have actually set their sights on the chaos origin. Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, and the others were very surprised. They didn't think of this at all. They only thought that the 7 demon generals were most likely going to kill their way into the divine demon battlefield and fight with everyone. However, all of this was to be expected. After all, it was a huge temptation that could allow the 7 demon generals to recover their strength sooner. "Father, do you guys want to interfere? They won't break the formation, right?" Besides Xiaolong, little Xingxing turned to look at him and asked worriedly. She also knew the function of the formation. It was used to trap countless experts of the devil race and isolate them in the 18 levels of hell. At the very least, before the experts on their side died, it was very difficult for the devil race to do anything to the 33 heavens. However, seeing the actions of the 7 demon generals now, little Xingxing couldn't help but feel worried. These 7 demon generals think too highly of themselves. Xiaolong just snorted lightly and rolled his eyes. Boss's methods are not something that they can hope to achieve. No matter how much effort they put in, it's futile. They're just asking to be humiliated. Moreover, this formation is built on the foundation of the great god Pangu's seal. That seal stewed the devil ancestor, many demon generals, and countless experts of the devil race. With the strength of the 7 demon generals, even if they were at their peak, what could they do? As Xiaolong spoke, he actually crossed his arms and calmly spied on what was happening outside the divine demon battle realm, a sneer on his face the entire time. Chapter 29:45. No one had more confidence in Lu Xiaoyu than Xiaolong. In his heart, his boss's methods couldn't be easily broken by the 7 demon generals. At the very least, the 7 demon generals couldn't do it with their current strength. With this mentality, Xiaolong's face was very relaxed. The power of his primordial spirit was constantly spying on the movements in the boundless starry sky. Since the 7 demon generals put all their attention on the chaos source, it was a good thing for the powerhouses of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds. Dibatian, Donghuang Taixian, Yanghua, Lu Xintong, and the others didn't pay too much attention to it. Only a few powerhouses stayed behind to keep an eye on the demon race's movements. Du Xiaofu didn't stay in Lu Jingyun's space for too long and appeared beside everyone. At this time, many powerhouses of the 33 heavens and the 3,000 boundless worlds who didn't enter the 18 layers of hell also gathered in front of them. Du Xiaofu swept his gaze across, and many familiar figures appeared in his line of sight. What surprised Du Xiaofu the most was that he saw his sister Du Xiaojing. "Brother." Du Xiaojing wore a long dress that accentuated her exquisite figure. She happily came to Du Xiaofu's side. Her eyes were filled with endless longing. It had been thousands of years since Du Xiaofu returned to the divine battle world. "Xiaojing, why are you also in the 33 heavens?" Du Xiaofu was very happy and asked. He carefully observed his sister's current state and found that she had already broken into the immortal realm and was already a mid-level immortal. Such a change made Du Xiaofu feel incomparably surprised. It was because Xiaojing had broken into the immortal realm that she came to the 33 heavens and entered the Fiend God battle realm. "I've been in the Fiend God battle realm for many years. I heard that brother entered the 18 layers of hell with many powerhouses. I've always been worried." Du Xiaojing's eyes were red as she spoke softly. But now that she saw Du Xiaofu standing in front of her, the worry in her heart faded a lot, and there was only a smile that came from the bottom of her heart. "Not bad, not bad. His strength has increased by so much." Du Xiaofu looked at his sister and rubbed Du Xiaojing's hair with one hand. Then, he asked, "How are father and the others?" After Du Xiaofu returned to the 33 heavens from the Shenwu world, he had been constantly fighting. First, he slaughtered his way into the Qian Su Jing Hua heaven and exterminated many beast clans. Then, he led several million experts into the 18 levels of hell. Now that so many years had passed, he didn't know how Shenwu world was doing, nor did he know what level the powerhouses of that world had reached. Shenwu world has many strong cultivators now, and everyone's cultivation speed is extremely fast. The laws there gradually formed. Although they weren't as stable as the 33 heavens, they were still countless times stronger than before. Right now, many immortal realm cultivators have appeared in Shenwu world, It's much stronger than before, Du Xiaojing said to Du Xiaofu. Through her explanation, Du Xiaofu was able to understand more about the earth-shattering changes that happened in Shenwu world. What was surprising, but also reasonable, was that a large number of immortal realm cultivators had appeared in Shenwu world, causing the overall strength of the world to increase at a terrifying rate. Du Xiaofu could imagine that the strongest among them would be his father Du Tingxian, his big brother Jin Qingchun, his second brother Du Yunlong, and so on. Their cultivation should be similar to Du Xiaojing's right now. Such a change made Du Xiaofu even happier. The stronger Shenwu world is, the better it is. Just as Du Xiaofu was feeling a strong sense of joy, a few more people came over, causing his eyebrows to twitch, then his expression turned into one of joy. Fui Bai, Old Madman, Qing Qing, Xingyu. A group of familiar figures appeared in front of Du Xiaofu, and these figures were all old acquaintances that he hadn't seen for many years. East Immortal, West Demon, South Ru, North Addict, Central Divinity, Dongli Qingqing, Dai Xingyu, Qing Wan Xiaoqing. These figures were all old acquaintances that Du Xiaofu met on his way to Shenwu world. After the devil religion's calamity ended, they all left Shenwu world and entered the 33 heavens. But Du Xiaofu had been in the 33 heavens for thousands of years, but he hadn't seen them even once. After so many years of running around, Du Xiaofu's heart was filled with endless longing. Who would have thought that after leaving the 18 layers of hell today, he would find everyone gathered here, reuniting once again? Xiaofu boy, Xiaofu Gidge. A group of experts quickly gathered around Du Xiaofu and began to chat with him. After so many years, everyone was very happy, chatting enthusiastically, temporarily putting the heavy pressure of the demon race to the back of their minds. Big brother. At this moment, Du Xiaojing pulled on Du Xiaofu's sleeve, indicating for him to look at a few figures walking over. These figures were all young, and there were both men and women. The men were handsome, and the women were beautiful. At a glance, one could tell that they were extraordinary. Looking at these young men and women, Du Xiaofu was a bit confused. He had never seen these people before, but from the looks of it, they seemed to know him. Before they even arrived, they greeted Xiaojing, little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others with smiles on their faces. This made Du Xiaofu even more confused. Rock Emperor, long time no see. The few young men and women walked up to Du Xiaofu and smiled as they spoke. Big brother, perhaps you don't know them. Let me introduce them to you. Beside Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaojing looked at her brother's strange expression and could not help but smile. Then, she said, these people are from the bright jade heavens Beigong family. After your battle with the demon god, they went to the divine battle world to help you recover. Following Du Xiaojing's words, the young men and women nodded and smiled. At the same time, they all introduced themselves to Du Xiaofu. I am Beigong Ningruo. I am Beigong Ningshuang. I am Beigong Tianhuan. I am Beigong Zhangqing. At this point, Du Xiaofu finally came to a realization. Only then did he realize that these people were from the Beigong family. Back then, when he fought with the demon god, he gave it his all and almost died. Only his head was left intact. His father, Du Tingxian, was not willing to let him die like this. Holding the attitude of treating a dead horse as a living horse, he placed his only remaining head in the ancestral stone coffin, hoping for a miracle to happen. Afterwards, it was his senior apprentice brother Lu Xiaoyu, who was the ruler of the 3,000 great worlds, who sent 4 young experts from the Beigong family to the divine battle world to treat him. It was because of their help that Du Xiaofu was able to recover so quickly. Du Xiaofu was extremely grateful to these people, but he had not been able to meet them before, so he did not even have the chance to thank them. Now that he'd met them, how could he have any hesitation? He immediately bowed to the 4 of them with extreme politeness and deeply expressed his gratitude. Du Xiaofu knew that if it was not for these people, it would have been extremely difficult for him to recover. Even if he could, it would have taken a lot of time. Rock Emperor, there's no need to be so courteous. It was just a small matter. Beigong Ingruo said gracefully and elegantly, showing off her beauty. The remaining 3 people, Beigong Ningshuang, Beigong Tianhuan, and Beigong Zhangqing, all nodded in agreement when they heard Beigong Ingruo's words. However, Du Xiaofu did not think so. No matter what, the four of them had done him a great favor, and he would always remember it. Rock Emperor, we haven't seen each other for many years, and you've already reached such a level. You really make us feel ashamed. On the other hand, Beigong Ingruo did not dwell on the previous matter and directly changed the topic. As she spoke, she smiled bitterly and shook her head, as if she had suffered a great blow. Beigong Ningxuang and the other two were the same. They looked at Du Xiaofu as if they were looking at a monster. Just as Beigong Ningxuang had said, when they entered the divine battle world, their cultivations were far higher than Du Xiaofu's. Even when they were under the terrifying suppression of the divine battle world, they were still able to display great strength. Under such circumstances, they had the right to treat Du Xiaofu, something that others did not have. Now, thousands of years had passed, and as the most outstanding youths of the Beigong family, they had already reached the immortal realm and were very powerful. However, when compared to Du Xiaofu, these young geniuses instantly paled in comparison. They were nothing at all. It's not just the Rock Emperor. Many people in the divine battle world have already left us far behind. Beigong Tianhuan smiled bitterly as he glanced at little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Du Xiaojing, and the others as he spoke. The current Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing were much stronger than the four of them. Du Xiaojing had not broken through for long, but he was about to overtake them. This was a great blow to the Beigong family's youths. You could have competed with anyone else, but you chose to compete with this group of abnormal people. Aren't you just looking for trouble? Unknowingly, Long San had appeared beside everyone and said with a light smile, with a hint of mockery in his voice. He was used to being beaten down. When he first met Du Xiaofu, he was just a little kid at the Seizing God realm. In front of him, he was at the peak of the ninth sky of a mortal realm. He was like a god. However, after so many years, this kid's strength could be compared to the third realm of meditative realm. He was still at the same place and couldn't find a chance to break through. Compared to Du Xiaofu, there was a fundamental change. If Du Xiaofu wanted to, he could crush a group of peak ninth sky of immortal realm experts with just one finger. However, Long San was used to this change, so he didn't care about it. Otherwise, he would be depressed just thinking about it. That was why he understood the four youths of the Beigong family. At the same time, he also had a mocking thought. Yeah, we can't compare with this family. Ling Feng came quickly, nodding his head like a chicken pecking rice. Du Xiaofu rubbed his nose, forcing a smile. He didn't say anything. Little star, look who's here. However, at this moment, Long Fault's cheerful voice arose, coming from afar. Long Su was standing next to him. At the same time, there were three women. These three women were incomparably beautiful. They directly flew out and flew in the direction of Little Star. One of the women looked anxious, her eyes red as she dashed in front of everybody. Mother! Little Star was shaken as she blurted out. Through the connection in her bloodline, it wasn't hard for her to recognize that the woman in the lead was her mother. Du Xiaofu and Du Xiaoyao knew that Little Star's mother was from the Vermilion Bird clan. Her name was Zhu Qinxi. Daughter. Zhu Qinxi instantly rushed to little Xingxing's side and pulled her into her embrace. Tears rolled down from her eyes. Our family is finally reunited. At this time, the dragon god also walked over and hugged Little Star and Zhu Qinxi. Beside the three of them, Long Kei, Long Su, and the other two women also stood beside Little Star, and the other two with smiles on their faces. Their eyes were filled with gratification. Little Star, come here. Let me introduce you. This is your mother, Jingchen, and this is your mother, Hui. Immediately after, Xiaolong pulled little Xingxing and introduced the other two girls beside Long Kei and Long Su. Little Star, you've grown so big. You're as beautiful as your mother. The two women called Jing Chen and Hui walked forward gently. Looking at Little Star, they reached out to stroke her hair and said with a smile. Through his father's introduction, Little Star also understood that these two women were the mothers of his brothers, Long Kei and Long Su. Little Star greets Mother Jing Chan and Mother Hui. Little Star bowed politely and said to the two of them. This action caused Jing Chun and Su Yi's smiles to become even wider. The way they looked at Little Star became even more amiable. After so many years, our family is finally reunited." Zhu Chenxi's eyes were still a little red as she said softly, "Many years ago, when the devil god barged into the divine martial world, Little Dragon and his eldest brother, Lu Xiaoyu, chased after him together. Then, with the help of the Du family's ancestor, who had the body of the heavenly Tao, they suppressed the devil god. However, due to the extremely terrifying suppressive force in the divine martial world and the devil god's immortal body, it was impossible to completely eliminate him. In order to give the beings of the divine martial world more power to deal with the devil religion when it made a comeback, Little Dragon left his own daughter in that world to help Du Xiaofu deal with the devil religion. However, the result of this was that Little Star was finally reunited with his family thousands of years after he was born. During this period of time, Zhu Chenxi was angry with Little Dragon more than once, wanting him to take her daughter back. It was obvious how much she missed little Xingxing. "Now that I've seen my daughter, let's have a good family gathering and talk," Little Dragon said to Zhu Chenxi with a light smile. Zhu Chenxi nodded and replied softly. After that, Little Star and her family greeted Du Xiaofu and the others, and under Little Dragon's lead, they entered an independent space to spend time with each other. Seeing this scene, Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaojing, Du Xiaoyao, Lu Jingyun, Dongli Qingqing, Dai Xingyu, and the others were all very happy. They talked for a long time again, telling each other about their experiences in these years of separation. However, other than Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, and Little Star, the others were much calmer. Du Xiaojing had been cultivating in the divine martial world, and Dongli Qingqing had followed the Skywood divine tree ancestor to the 3,000 boundless worlds. Because she had the Beigong family's talent, Dongli Qingqing had obtained unimaginable benefits there, and was now an immortal realm expert. As for Dai Xingyu and Qingwan Shaoqing, they had been following East Deity, receiving training. As for Fui Bai, Crazy Ol, and the others, they had been very calm. From their conversation, they were reminiscing about the years in the divine martial world, the days when they fought against the devil religion. It was an intense battle that was hard to experience in the 33 heavens. So the divine martial world has become so powerful. If I have time, I will definitely go back and take a look. Crazy Ol raised his head slightly, looking at the sky, and said with longing. After listening to Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaojing, and the others, East Deity, West Demon, South Ru, North Addict, and Central Divinity knew that the divine martial world had undergone a terrifying change. It was even more terrifying than any of the 33 heavens. The living beings there cultivated very quickly, and a large number of experts had appeared. It was not the same as before. If another demon god appeared, there would be no need for experts like Lu Xiaoyu and the dragon god to act. Just the people of the desolate country would be enough to easily suppress it. That is the Daluo heaven, another world that was created by a demon god. Du Xiaofu did not hide the origin of the divine martial world. He told everyone about the Daluo heaven and heavenly Lord Daluo, leaving Fui Bai and the others speechless. They had felt that the divine martial world was not simple since a long time ago. There was something strange about it, but they did not know what was strange about it. It was only today that they realized that it was the embryonic form of a large world. But because of the ancient demon war, Heavenly Lord Daluo gave up on that world and gathered all his power to suppress the demon ancestor's body. It was because of this that the entire Shenwu world had always been under such a terrifying suppression. Even the master of the 3,000 worlds, Lu Xiaoyu, and the dragon god, had their cultivation restricted when they entered. But now, everything had changed. That world was undergoing a nirvana rebirth and regaining its original power. As Du Xiaofu's strength continued to increase, the divine martial world also became stronger and more prosperous. It was only a matter of time before it became even stronger. I have to go back and take a look. Once the demon race is dealt with, I plan to retire there. Fui Bai sighed softly as he spoke. That's a good idea. On the side, East Deity, who was dressed in palace attire, said. But when Fui Bai heard this, he immediately shrunk his neck.